Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome back for another edition of our EKN OutLap. It is episode number 81, part 2 of our preview for the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27, happening next week, of course, down in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As you can see, just myself, Rob Howden, and David Cole with this one here today. Nate D not able to be with us this evening. We'll be having him thrashing from essentially dawn to dusk, or probably midnight all week in Las Vegas. Not able to make it with us tonight. So, Cole, it's just you and I. Let's get things underway, though, by, of course, starting as we always do, by presenting our sponsor for today's show. That, of course, Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are the three words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the U.S. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in their near 6 decades of business. Their brand new updated online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to the product line. Make sure you head to cometkartsales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, DC, let's jump into this thing. We've got essentially the big show to a certain extent, the senior and masters classes, those previews coming up today. Those of you who are tuned in to watch the show, great to have you with us here. It is interactive. We're going to start with K100 Masters in a little bit here. When we do, feel free to drop down who you think is going to win your top fives. We'll have the predictions. Nate's not here, but we have his predictions as well. So, David, we'll see if we can't get some of the people that are watching to drop what they think is going to be the podium on Super Sunday.
Yeah, that's always the fun part, is seeing who's everybody thinking. Obviously, parents are going to pick their kids, and their mechanics or team owners going to pick their own drivers. But it's fun to hear, people who think are different random thoughts about the event. Again, we're at a different location, or at least different racetrack, different area of the parking lot from 2021 that we were at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But a lot of different things coming into this Super Nationals. And we talked about it yesterday. It's the third largest Super Nationals ever.
Yeah, that's we talked about that. Let's kind of jump into that a little bit. As I said before, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dave, do you want to dive into? We're going to look at the racetrack again. I know we did it yesterday, but a lot of people maybe didn't follow yesterday because of micro, mini, and the junior categories. Of course, a lot of senior people watching this one here. 16-turn racetrack, counterclockwise direction. Third time we've been out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We've been at a bunch of different racetracks, different venues, the Rio, of course, the Las Vegas Convention Center, Sam Boyd Stadium. We were out at the Rock Pile for many, many years as well. But the third time we've been out in North Las Vegas at the Motor Speedway, 21 and 23. We're on the eastern portion of the facility, essentially, David, the same place we were back in 2021. And there's the layout for the racetrack. We talked a lot about it yesterday. Dave, there are some fast parts of this track, but there are also, I believe, some really complex parts that could separate the pack a little bit. You're going to see some breakaways because as you look there's a couple of really tough sections where you're carrying a lot of speed and really constant radius arcs.
Yeah, that intersection in the middle of the racetrack on the right-hand side there, right above the starting line, that's going to be probably the first sector that's going to be pretty difficult to handle. And then you have the other part there on the left above the finish line. That's going to be another technical section that is going to catch people off guard. And, we talked about it yesterday. There's going to be a big long run down into turn 1, a very fast turn 1 through 2, 3, and then a braking zone into 4. It's going to be a fast part, but there's going to be a lot of passing opportunities there, because guys will either have a bad run or a good run out of turn 1, and then through that bending turn 2 and turn 3 into 4.
Yeah.
So
if you're watching right now, give us your thoughts on the track in the comments. We'll bring a couple of those in as well. Dave, one thing before we get into the middle part of the racetrack, you look back at last year, super fast straightaway. As we know, there was that kink kind of into turn 1, but you had to get on the binders hard into turn 1, really, because it was a left-hand, essentially a hairpin. Same goes with the racetrack back in 2022 when we were at the Rio. I raced there. It was a long run down into, again, a hard hairpin, right? And then a little right-left chicane coming out of the corner. This is going to be this brings me back to some of the old school turn 1s where it's a 90-degree corner. So you're going to be rocking some big speed, not into a hairpin either. Rolling that speed all the way back into 4. 14 or 16 to 4 is going to be fast.
It's like a Rock Island turn almost. You know, you think about it. It's a left hand turn one to where you're gonna come out of that corner, but you're gonna have to immediately turn left again to get through that bend that is turn 2 and turn 3 to lead into 4. So it's going to be interesting because you're going to have guys that are going to probably try and defend down that bend into turn 4 and try and hug it a little bit tight, keep it tight, especially in the shifter categories where we see a lot of narrow lines across the race.
Yeah, 100%. Out of that turn 4, that left-hander into, of course, another little left, and then into this kind of right, kind of sweeping big arcing corner. Kind of reminds me a little bit. I know this track is essentially taking a lot of design cues from the track up in Mont-Tremblant in Quebec, Canada. But this also kind of reminds me a little bit of that long radius corner when you out at the old Las Vegas karting center, the X-Plex, the rock pile, where you kind of get in there and you're just really holding this big sweeping arc all the way around over into 9 and 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how competitors take this, because again, it's going to be a G load. A lot of people aren't used to that when you get to the street racing, because as we see, and Nate made a great point, is it's a lot of 90-degree and 180s. That's what a lot of temporary circuits are. So when you do have this element, it's good. But we've seen it at the SuperNationals a few times.
Yep.
I think even at the Rio and a couple of the designs they had a kind of a big sweeper to kind of, again, catch people off guard and kind of, make the kart and driver work together through a couple of the corners rather than it just be, typical 90 and 180-degree corners.
Yeah, look at 12 and 13 into 14, Dave. It's just a big, huge, long, constant radius, sweeping left-hander coming back into what will be a hard right, but then a couple of right-handers there. You mentioned it yesterday, coming out of 13 to 14. If you hug to the inside, guys are going to over under you between 14 and 15. That sets up the run over to 16, the long run down the straightaway. You and I, one thing we said too, and I mentioned it, you mentioned kind of the racing we're going to see. This final corner reminds me a lot of what we saw last year, where we had a lot of over-unders. You block to the inside, you're going to get over-undered on the outside. The finish line's far enough down the straightaway where if a guy over-unders you, he's going to be able to get you. It's not going to be a drag race to the line in terms of draft. It's more going to be, David, the way you place your kart on the entry and the exit of turn number 16.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite an interesting way to watch the finishes. That's going to be a busy corner. We're going to see a lot of interesting maneuvers through there. We're going to see the over-unders. We could see some other things happen as well. Maybe we'll see some 3-wide. I think we saw some 3-wide action last year. And so that's going to be a very important corner. And, again, I'd much rather have that than the drag race to the line. I sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. It just, I don't know. I like this. It's, you got to race it. You got to play the game of chess the best over everybody else in order to win.
Part of our EKN Trackside coverage next week, folks, we're going to do our best we can to give you some insight on the track. We're going to have actual onboards on Wednesday from the morning and the afternoon sessions. We'll get those put together up on the YouTube channel on Wednesday or Thursday morning, likely Wednesday. But then on Tuesday during the track walk, we're going to go out there. We're going to go Facebook Live, Instagram Live. We're not sure which we're going to use yet, but we'll go live on one of our social platforms, and we're going to walk around the racetrack. We're going to talk to some of the drivers that are out there. We're going to get a feel, going to interview those, David, when they're getting their first, boots on the ground look at some of these corners, because you can't go on the racetrack until that track walk starts. So I always find that very interesting, especially as the sun goes down. You're out there in the light. By the time you're done the walk, it's normally in the dark. Everybody's got a different feel for some of the corners, and some are wide-eyed, some are excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the drivers say when we're out there for our live show. Yeah, last year it was quite interesting to hear everybody talk about it as we walked it, and this will be it looks longer, and so that's what I'm interested in. They don't have an estimated length of the full track. It's 100 or 850 feet long straightaway, so you gotta figure. I mean, it's a lot of down and back type scenarios. Yeah. So, 7/10, 8/10 of a mile probably. Yeah. So, it's definitely with 16 turns. That's something that's different from last year. Last year was maybe 8-9 turns. So this is going to be, I think guys are going to have longer track walks, to kind of analyze every little bit of this racetrack, because I think every little bit's going to help this week. I agree. I think there's a level of technical part of it that I really, really like as well.
Mhm.
So again,
Yeah.
16 corners, as we said, counterclockwise, should be very interesting once we get rolling. David, take us on a little run through the schedule of what's happening. It's a very, kind of standard deal they've had with the SuperNationals over the last couple of years. But for those who may be new, David, walk us through kind of how the schedule is going to work out from Wednesday to Sunday.
Yeah, again, as we talked about, track walk will be Tuesday. That'll be 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Las Vegas time. I believe that'll be the Western time zone or the Pacific time zone with the clock change. I always forget that. I think they go Pacific for this time of the year. Wednesday, 4 rounds of practice, 7 minutes each session for morning, afternoon groups. Thursday, 2 rounds of practice plus qualifying. So we'll have our grid set. They do have a 7-minute and a 12-minute practice session. And of course, that last practice session will line you up for your qualifying groups. Friday, we get into 2 rounds of heat races, 1 round of heat races and LCQs on Saturday, with the main events on Sunday. And we don't know yet on the lap counts for for each of the races, because they're going to measure, I think, the track out and figure out, okay, what's the actual distance? Let's see what kind of laps we can do, et cetera, et cetera. Crunch the math and come up with the laps that they will actually run. I got to believe that main events will be 20 laps plus 25 for probably the pro categories or similar to that. But one thing I did not mention yesterday was who's in what group. We did have a swap this year. Master Shifter is going to join the morning group this year with KA100 Junior, KA100 Senior, and Micro Swift. So the Master Shifter guys, they're going to have to go to bed early every night to get that morning session. That's going to swap with KA Master, which runs now in the evening. So those guys get the opportunity to sleep in. Something Rob Howden never has done. Mini Swift, X30 Junior, Pro X30, and Pro Shifter in the afternoon under the lights in Las Vegas.
I still wouldn't have been able to get sleep in if I would, even if my class would have been in the afternoon, because I would have been in the booth in the morning. So here's a question. I don't know if you've looked at the inclination of where the track is laid out. Good question from Todd McCall, of course, On Track Promotions. He's been On Track. OTP has been the official provider of photography for the for the events. For what Todd can throw it out there.
Well, it's been
20, at least 20.
At least 20, because I was there in 2004, so it's at least 20.
Yeah, 20 years and about 40 pounds ago for Todd McCall. 100%. 2000.
There you go.
Holy shit. Wow, that's amazing.
So if you think about it, the 2021 layout, that's the same straightaway that essentially we're going to be using. So it's the same direction that they ran last year, but you got to remember the the finish line wasn't on that straightaway. So chicken balls. So that's, I think you'll be good in the morning categories, but once you get to the noon, you're going to be shooting kind of directly into the sun. So it is going to be a little difficult. You're going to probably have to do like side angle for some of these finishes when you get into the afternoon part. I mean, Google Map it. You'll kind of understand where everything is. It's very similar to where we were in 2021. It's just kind of shifted down towards down the back straightaway towards turn 2 of the NASCAR racetrack. That's essentially where the racetrack is closer to that turn 2, because the paddock and parking is all going to be where the paddock and racetrack were in 2021.
Shout out to Todd McCall and On Track Promotions, everybody that works with him. 25th edition for him to be here as the official photographer.
Well, there was COVID, so technically it's 24, right?
Isn't that the 25th edition, though?
No, if you minus 1, right?
I don't make me use my fingers.
We'll make Todd do the math. Anyway.
That's right. All right. Anyways, done with that part there. We talked about already the morning classes and afternoon classes. Weather, obviously, one of the key things, David, to chat about it here a little bit. There have been times where it's been cold. There's been times, though, where we've had like high 70s, mid to high 70s. Right now, forecast we're seeing, we're not going to get that. We're thinking mid 60s as a high. As long as rain doesn't come in, we'll be all right. It is the desert. We're used to this over the last 27 years of this event. It's going to be cold in the morning, warmer during the day, and cold again at night. So bring the jacket, take it off, put it back on. 60 degrees with lows in the mid 40s. So morning sessions will be cool, and the evening will be cool as well.
Yeah, and again, we're supposed to be done by 6 p.m., so we're going to only have a couple, like 2 hours maybe in the cold, if that. If everything stays on schedule, we shouldn't have any other issues. It might get a little chilly walking around the paddock at night, talking to everybody, getting our recap videos from interviews with some of the drivers at the end of the day. But it's the desert. We expect it. Sometimes we get lucky with the Rio where the wind was getting blocked by the buildings or it was coming the other direction. We were freezing our butts off. So no more late nights. That's the nice thing. No more up on the racetrack until 10 o'clock at night. Although they were fun when we were younger. We can't do that anymore.
Now. Not so much now. Let's give a shout out here to a couple of people that are tuning in. Corey Simpson, looking forward to this year's SuperNats. Dave, you're running next year. Somebody's got to do Dave's job. I don't think anybody's up for the task. I'm going to tell you that right now.
We know Todd's not.
Speaking of the amount of races that Dave's been to, Todd says, yes, you're correct. My 23rd OTP 24th. He missed 2020 and he missed 2021 with a baby. Derek Escabel says, don't split hairs, David. So Derek Escabel.
I'm losing him. So
you're not even close, dude. I got a solar panel on the back of my head right now. So,
but the numbers wise, I mean, we're looking at the third, like we said, the third largest SuperNationals of all time, 546 pre-entries as of Monday, October 28th, when registration closed. I think they're going to still have some walk-ups coming in, probably a couple of cancellations, but majority of the categories are sold out. K Master and Master Shifter, both of those sold out, 51 and 50.
My boys and girls.
Yeah, really big.
Wow.
94 for K100 Senior. That is massive. 93 was the biggest that we had back in, I'm trying to get the year there, 2021. So this is the largest KA Master or KA Senior field we've ever had at the SuperNationals.
Unbelievable. 61 in the X30 senior category. Had 87 a couple years ago. Dave, you think it kind of indicative of where X30 senior is kind of going right now? We are seeing a lower amount on the national level. Everybody steps up for the SuperNats. You get more drivers coming in from, internationally. 61, still a good field, down a couple from last year, but not like the full fields where we had 87 in 21 and 22.
Well, and also think about it. A lot of these kids that would be an X30 Pro are racing cars. They're not even racing karts now. You think a lot of the kids that are here in the U.S. are doing that, but also in Europe. You think about it. A lot of those kids are focused on their European program. We didn't talk about too many of the kids that aren't going to be in the SuperNationals in mini Swift, say Lucas Palacio, Rocco Simone. We did mention as him. Some of these kids and drivers are going to be focused primarily. There's a WSK race going on. So we're kind of hurting on that with international drivers. So I think it's just, kind of the way everything, I mean, you add 15 drivers, boom, you're right up close to 80 again in X30 Pros. So I think it's just the way things are in terms of mentality of racers that are focused in one direction, not kind of the one-off race that we're doing here at SuperNationals.
You'll see when we dive into Pro Shifter, there is a lot of big name guys in Pro Shifter that are coming over, but there's some that aren't there. If you go look at the KZ World Championships, you're going to see a number of drivers in the top 10, top 15, but some guys aren't here because, David, as you said, many of them staying in Europe for this weekend. 67 total in Pro Shifter, not the 71 that we had last year. But dude, it's still 67 drivers in Pro Shifter. I don't.
Hey, it's an LCQ for Pro Shifter. That's badass. I mean, anytime we do that, we barely had 40 drivers at one point when we had Pro 1 and Pro 2 together. So, to have 67 guys out there, guys racing to make the main, that's what you want. That brings you back to the old school days of the SuperNationals.
We're going to have a lot of rivalries on the racetrack, a lot of trash talking. Here's a little more trash talking for you. Jeff Deskins says, I've been there longer than Todd McCall doing picks, and that's 100% true. Jeff Deskins has been there. But here's another one for Jeff Deskins over Todd McCall. Jeff Deskins actually raced as well in ADCC Senior, formerly K1 at one point as well. And he was there, of course, when we started it, Shifter Kart Illustrated back in 1998. Jeff Deskins was there. He was the man that was taking care of the photography. So Jeff will be back once again. I'm sure he'll bring some of his Shifter Kart Illustrated gear. I'll say this. I literally was going through my storage unit. I'm moving, as you know, David. I'm moving some boxes. I pulled out in the bag a brand new MIR ekartingnews.com vest. All the MIR stuff we had.
It's in the closet right over there.
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new. They're nice.
It's an extra large. I'm not
because it gives you that a little bit extra warmth on the core. So it's Vegas. It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's like,
best weather.
I think it's like a 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and then like a 3 o'clock to 4
3 to 5. Yeah. Sun's gone. I gotta put the jacket on.
Yeah.
Vest off, jacket on. Yeah.
Other guy
shouting
shouting out. James Resendez is talking about going to KA Masters, but he says he's 7 years out. So slow your roll for Supernats 34. Kyle Yachinski, can't wait to see and hang with you guys. Of course, they are there with TB Kart USA and Race Lab. So again, great to see you guys tuning into the show here.
Yeah, and Jeff, we haven't really heard anything from anybody about the racetrack itself. So that's probably going to be the biggest thing we talk about with drivers when we walk the paddock on Tuesday, kind of getting their initial thoughts going into the track walk. And then obviously, as we've mentioned, we'll do our track walk live on Facebook to give everybody at home a feel of what the track is, where it is, how it's laid out, and what drivers are saying, team owners are saying.
Primarily what we do on Tuesday is field a lot of FUs from drivers that we haven't picked in the predictions. Dads are telling us they're wrong. The kids are telling us we're wrong. It's a barrage.
Danny Formal telling us we're wrong.
Although that was so epic on Super Sunday last year. Super epic. I was actually going to pick Danny Formal, even though he's not going to be there. I was going to pick him P1 just to say that's what I was
going to do. I mean, just to say, hey, I picked you. Why didn't you finish top 5? Because you're in Spain.
Well, because we can't say that. Like if a guy doesn't finish top 5, we're gonna finishes 10th. We're gonna go over there and like grind salt into the wounds. No, we don't do that, Dave, because we're classy that way.
Depends on who it is.
Hold on, this is BS. Rob is normally wrong with his picks, though. That's very true.
Stats don't lie.
True. That's true. That is very true. Although, listen, I won a couple of classes yesterday. I won a couple. I won
last year. Yeah.
I didn't suck totally. So, although you'll be leading off because you got a lot of wins here, folks. That's the first part of the show here. On to the first break. Of course, just if you're on the show here right now, just a quick little break. This is where we'll throw our commercials in during our podcast. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Episode number 81 of the EKN OutLap. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is SodiKart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to the new exclusive importer, the Karting Distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer SodiKart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers product in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. The Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports is the official race team, producing many victories in different levels across the board. And the new Pro Race Academy is designed to cater to the next generation of motor racing, helping boys and girls aiming to make their mark. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about SodiKart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. SodiKart, the world leader in the karting industry. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by 4-time Supernats champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce a high-performance, long-lasting kart that has been designed and perfected from 3 years of development, with a focus for a big push across North America in 2023. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product like Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Do you remember when American made meant innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorykarts.com. See how easy that was? Just a quick little break here, live on Facebook and on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, get that done. Smash the like for me, please. I would appreciate that. Dave, we're starting off with my class, KA100 Master, sponsored by Orsalon Racing. I'll let, of course, Dave do the heavy lifting. If you haven't done it yet, and you'll see this throughout the week, David's been busting his tail getting the previews done. A number of them already up. I think you put this KA100 Master
came up this afternoon.
This afternoon. The other ones will come up each day leading in, kind of a nice little run through all the categories. But so David's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting here, having done all the research, hence why he kicks my butt at the predictions. Dave, give us the run here. 51 drivers, KA100 Master. Back in 2022, we struggled even to get this category in when I raced, right? They told me I had to have X amount by
in July.
It was 25 by the Sunday. I started on the Monday, and we ended up having 25 or even more than that by the Sunday. It ended up being, I think, 40 something. So shout out to all my Masters guys. 51. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, it ended up being 48 in 2022. We were at 45 last year. Again, that's due to cancellations. But 51 this year, and it seems like everybody's in. There's still people like a Laurentiu Mardan still on the waiting list trying to get in.
He messaged me and he goes, "What can you do?" I go, "Get out here, get on the waiting list."
There's nothing, man. It's definitely a coveted seat to get into the KA Master program. Only 2 winners over the first 2 years of the event, with Martin Stone in 2022, and then last year's Aussie Matthew Waters picking up the victory. Here's some notes for the category. So those are our 2 winners in the field. We have 5 drivers 60 years of age or older, and that includes a 68-year-old driver in the field.
My man,
Tom Gerstner, former SCUSA Pro Tour champion in the field. There's actually 6 former SuperNationals winners in the field, so a very talented, successful field of drivers. 13 countries represented in the field by 11 drivers outside of the United States. So again, it's an international field. A lot of drivers that picked and choose, kind of ran limited schedules. You got drivers who ran all season long as well too. So and then drivers from other countries coming in to kind of be spoilers at the SuperNationals, as we saw last year with the guy nobody knew except me, Matthew Waters.
You did get that one. Again, we talked about the fact the oldest driver in the field at 68 years of age, Tom Gerstner, had a chance to race with him last year at the Summer Nats. One of the greatest guys in the paddock. Fantastic dude. Let's not leave out Craig Vasquez either, from San Clemente, California, running for Mike Manning Racing, 65 years of age. Grab that Social Security, take that check, and go to the Super Nats.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I think that's so awesome. Again, I'm 50. I just turned 56, right? So these guys, you literally I got 12 more years of racing. Yeah. I'm going to pull a Tom Gerstner. So again, that's the awesome thing. I always love watching Tom out there. So here's what's going to happen, folks. If you didn't watch yesterday, we'll go through our Masters predictions. The first guy to do the predictions is the guy that won last year. I think David's probably leading one. Hold on to, oh my God, he's going to be, oh my God.
I did all of them, yeah.
You did all. So Dave won all, God darn it. He won all 5 of the senior Masters categories last year. And then Nate's not with us, so we'll just throw his plate up. I'll go through the top 5. David, of course, can give us some insight if it's drivers that we potentially didn't pick. After that, we'll look through our spreadsheet a little bit, some of the other notable drivers that we may want to throw out there.
I only did have 3 points to beat you guys, because you and Nate both scored only 2, because we only picked I picked 3 drivers in the top 5. That was Cooper, Foster, and Waters. Yep. And then you guys had Cooper and Foster in the top 5 as well. So that was the only difference, 1 point difference, but I'll take it because a win's a win no matter what you are doing. So yeah, let's get into my.
Hold on. No, so listen. So if you're watching right now, a bunch of guys are watching right now. If you think who you think's going to win as the category comes up, throw it down here. Tell us who you think's going to win. We'll have a look down here in the comments as well. So if you got a guy you think's going to come away with the winner, is going to be on the podium, drop the name down there, because we may be able to give him a little bit of love here on the broadcast. Dave, what do you got? Who you think's coming away with the big trophy?
I got Ben Cooper winning a 3rd time in a 3rd different class at the SuperNationals. He's won in DD2. He's won in X30 Senior. And now he narrowly won it last year. Matthew Waters got him at the end there. And I think this year it's going to be a Ben Cooper show. Coming off the Rock Vegas victory. He's looking pretty good. He hasn't aged, even though he's in the Masters category. It looks like he hasn't aged a bit. So I got an RPG 1-2-3 with Martin Stone joining RPG later this year or earlier this year. He is a former winner, so we were going to have 3 former winners in the top 3 positions. I think they're going to be able to kind of check out and get away from everybody. I got Nicky Coelho, the Franklin Motorsports Merlin Nation driver, in the 4 spot. On the podium all season long, USPKS, won the championship that way. Really upset he didn't get a victory, but was consistent all year long, consistently fast. Didn't make any mistakes, was always there. I have him there in 4th after he finished 6th last year. I'm got to find my 7th last year. So he's improved this year from last year. So I have him improving into the podium. And then Kip Foster trying to get that 5th elusive victory here at the SuperNationals, coming in as a 4-time winner. Just not enough. He's going to be on the aero machine. It's going to be a long time since we've seen an aero kart at the SuperNationals. So I believe he's pitting with Brandon Charzakrak Racing, Mike Doty Racing. So he'll be obviously a great story to watch all week long.
Yeah, Kip Foster, the Kipper, going for the big one. Let's have a look at my picks then, David. You and I are very similar. So Cooper, Waters, 1-2. I put Foster up in there because he's just such a tough competitor, right? Like you said, on the aero, the Drew Price engineering machine, back on the aero that he spent so much time on. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, you roll in with a different chassis on a temp circuit. I still think Kips is one of those guys that's such a tough competitor. He'll find a way to get his way in there. I'm with you that it's going to be Cooper, Waters, and Stone. To have 3 RPG drivers all quick, you're gonna feel like you're outmanned, right? You don't have a partner up there, especially if they're all quick and they're all together in the lead pack and are able to pull away. I will say this: working with Rawlson Performance Group when I raced back in 2022, Ben Cooper was one of my coaches along with Jace Denmark. Man, I learned so much from Ben. His delivery, it's a reason why he does so well as an instructor, as a coach, has his own team up in Canada. This is a guy who the way he teaches is fantastic, but he's just such a talent, right? It's easy for him to do. I see him winning another one as well, as you said. Matthew Waters right in there with him. I think Cooper steals it away from Waters this year. I put Foster in for 3rd because, again, we know that's going to get crazy at the end. It could be 1-2-3, and then Foster throws it inside over in turn 16. We'll see. And then if you look at Renato Jadre David, let me flip over here to the spreadsheet. And you look back at what he's done since 2015. Last year was the first time he finished outside the top 10. 9th, 1st, 9th, 3rd, 3rd, 5th, 2nd, 13th. This is a guy that, again, he's literally a legend in Masters racing. I throw him in there with Kip Foster. I throw him in there with Darren, with Wang, with Leonardo Nienkotter. Some of these single speed Masters drivers who are absolutely legends in the sport and are some of the best we've ever seen. So I put Renato Jadre David in there as well.
Yeah, he was runner up in both KA Master and X30 Master in 2022. So I mean, it's a good pick. There's obviously a lot of other drivers I could have put in my top 5, but I just don't think he's been in the kart enough this year. So I think that's going to kind of hurt him. But then you look at Ben Cooper, like he's just doing lead follows all the time. He's not really racing, but then he can go out and win. So,
and David, I'll say this right now for everybody who's we got some people that are throwing names down. We'll bring those in at the end, but Dave's probably the same as me. You look at the list, you pick the 10 guys you think potentially could be in the top 5. And then you do 1, 2, 3 pretty easy, right? Maybe even 4. And then you look at the last 6 and you say, which dude am I going to put in for 5th?
Yeah.
And that guy could probably win too. And that's the one thing we always say, there are guys outside the top 6 that could win. Danny Formal last year, 100%. But
yeah. Can we just preface all 5 categories we're talking about today is going to be 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 I mean, even top 15, you look at that. And
I feel like I'm going to be just an ass in the pro categories because, you pick certain guys and there's going to be somebody that was right there in the bubble for me who's going to win the damn thing. So and again, it's the beauty of a temporary circuit. There's no you saw at the World Championships, they did that at PF International. The British drivers went 1-2, right? There's no track knowledge. It's whether or not you're good on a temporary circuit. Drivers have run temporary circuits before, but this is a track you can't test on. It levels the playing field, so you never know who comes up front. Let's have a look at Nate Dean. He's normally a little bit different than us. Indeed, yeah,
he is.
So he's going Mad Max Pappas, who we have seen do extremely well over the years at Trackhouse, GoPro / what's the name of the track that it used to be called?
Mooresville Motorplex.
No, the one that they patterned it off of.
Oh, Parma.
Parma. His favorite racetrack. He's very, very good at Trackhouse. Nate's picking him to win. Listen, he's rolling the dice.
I love it. I mean, it's a pick
too.
that neither of us put in the top 5. Mad Max has the ability to do it for sure. We've seen him go to Trackhouse, and he's got thousands of laps there. I'm just interested to see how he adapts to this temporary circuit.
Yeah.
Because I haven't, in all honesty, I don't think I've seen him race outside Trackhouse in a kart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it'll be unique.
He's got Ben Cooper second, Martin Stone third. He's right there with you with Nicky Coelho coming home in the 4th spot. But listen, I race when I can. You race when you can. Nate's a racer. We don't talk a lot about the fact that he races back up at Stockholm. Is he trying to push himself to potentially get a Merlin sponsorship here?
I
don't. he's going Franklin 4th, 5th. Nicky Coelho and Jamie Siraki P5.
Yeah, I mean that it's not a shocker. Let's be honest, because the guy has won at the SCUSA Pro Tour in master racing. He's beaten Tucker, Giamara, all these other guys that have been in it and have been really good. He hops in the kart every once in a while at Badger Kart Club to race against the kids, and still has the ability to do it. I think for him it's going to be a mental game. If he's mentally in it, I think he could be a podium driver. The thing about Jamie is, dude, he because he's such a veteran, he understands that he only needs to be there on Sunday. Right.
I just feel like he was in my list of top 10, in the top 10 where I'm like, how much has he been in the seat? He's there all the time.
Well,
right?
And again, he finished 13th in 2022. He wasn't. Yep. I think he got an incident.
Well, I drug him out for that one. Remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. But there's a lot of guys under the tent with him in the category alone. So if maybe it's going to be a more fun weekend where he's going to be shooting from the hip and giving them all a little trash talk all weekend long.
Gary Osterholt says Nate is smart. Go Merlin Nation. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people back in Wisconsin that are going to be rooting for those guys there for sure. We'll jump into our kind of group there a little bit here. So Dario Baston, Ben Cooper, 100% for sure. Here's this one. This one pisses me off. It's Pierce Baldus. And here's why it pisses me off. I used to call his races when he was a cadet driver.
Yeah.
And now I have to race against him in Masters if I was racing. Come on.
That's just because you're old.
I know I'm old. I've been around so long. That's so good. Pierce's first time in the Masters, right?
In the Masters class, he's actually the Texas Sprint Racing Series champion in 2024. So was able to knock Miguel Mir off that pedestal down there. So 29. Last time though he was out to SuperNationals was KZ in 2018. Yeah. So he's definitely one of those going to be a contender on the weekend for sure. We talked about Mario Rollison Performance Group. They also have Mario Barrios. He could be a wild card as well too. Coming back from that injury that he sustained at the Winter Nationals in March. So I think he's back to 100%. So this could be like the Aaron Rodgers comeback tour, or where he comes back from injury to succeed there. How
about comeback from his win in 2006, Travis Irving? 2006.
Yeah, he hasn't had any success though at the SuperNationals since. That's kind of the problem.
He's fast.
5 starts at the SuperNationals with a best finish of 11th. That was back in 2016. So he's been a couple years away from the SuperNationals, but he's back this year with Formula Works and GFC.
What about your buddy Scott Kopp?
Yeah, Skippy's been out of the seat a little bit this year. Won at his home track at Badger. Just SuperNationals have never been good for him on track, maybe a little bit more off track. in terms of gambling and other things, other activities. But he had his best finish last year of 16, and he actually had to come from the back of the field, if I recall correctly. So he had the pace last year. Again, there's Siraki with him. There's TJ Nevels. There's Westige under the tent.
Yeah.
I want to say there was.
We were around each other in 22.
Yeah, I want to say there's one other driver as well, Nicky Coelho again, of course. So there's going to be a lot of guys kind of talking and figuring things out. So I think that's going to be a fun tent to be in come evening night after all the sessions are done, to hear them kind of debrief over a couple of beers.
Yeah, another one with a couple of bullets in the gun. We mentioned Renato Jadre David for Orsolon Racing. They'll also, as we've already said, have Max Pappas, but Diego Pelosi there as well. You go back a little into the kind of mid way of the last decade. He had a bunch of top tens, finished second back in 2015. So Diego Pelosi could be a driver in the fight for sure. One that I find, you mentioned Miguel Mir already. He's been a long time runner, finished in the top 10 last year. But when I was scrolling down through, this one really caught me off guard, was Bruno Spengler.
Yeah.
And Bruno's a driver that, man, I remember early in our publishing career, he was a big part of Formula Car magazine back at that time. He was running in I think it was called the Fran-Am series back then.
Okay.
I think he would have won the Fran-Am championship. So Bruno Spengler, the Canadian who now races under the French flag for Superkarts. I haven't seen Bruno in 20 years. So,
well, he said he hasn't karted in 24 years. So this is his return. He's been doing a little bit on the season here and there, getting some testing in. So, don't be surprised to see him on the upper half of the field. Again, he's still a sports car racer, racing endurance races all over the world.
Factory Mercedes for many, many years.
I believe he's BMW right now, if I recall correctly. That'll be him, and Pappas are kind of the motorsport stars of this category.
Drew Hawkinson, I have 100% will be a winner this weekend. Don't worry about that. Maybe not on the racetrack, but as long as I don't gamble, I'll be all right. Hey, Dave, one more name I think we probably should bring up. We haven't talked about him yet. There's two actually. Let's throw Scott Falcone out first. Back after a number of years away. He and I both raced together at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals event. That was a lot of fun. He and I raced kind of around each other, inside and outside the top 10 for many of the laps, many of the races. He was behind. It was behind you. He was behind you. What about Jesse Gwynn?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Jesse. When I was going through results, I'm like, sixth place, Jesse Gwynn. Okay, I did a Google search. I can't find anything.
If you go back to old Shifter Card Illustrated.
Oh, see, I can't pull up the archives right now.
You go back to Shifter Card Illustrated and you go to all the race results we used to have from NorCal, IKF Regional 11 up in NorCal, right? Is that 11? Yeah. Regional 11. In the ADCC classes, the ADCC Pro spec with the YBNs, the Gwynn family's all in there. They were all over running Dixon and Davis, and it's a legendary family in NorCal. And to see Jesse come back out here and, man, running with GFC, which Gary posted a picture of a massive team at the Rock Vegas event. That program keeps getting bigger and bigger. People are flocking to GFC. They do so well at the Challenge of the Americas. Everywhere they go, again, he's with GFC. And again, that program, along with Formula Works, Littell Racing up in Scuderia Littell up at Utah. They've got a bunch of great people, Mike Rivera. So he's running with GFC. 6th last year. What, a couple spots better puts him on the podium, even one spot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he comes back and has, again, he was up front in the top 10 all week long. So that was one of the guys that was kind of sitting there on my list of do I put him in or not. So
same.
Again, if I had the background you did, I might have slipped him in there as a podium finisher.
It's for me, it's always like if you're kind of on the cusp last year, but we see some new guys come in. Like we're going to talk about it in Master Shifter. It's blown wide open with some of the names of guys that are now deciding that, okay, that's okay if I run Master Shifter. Right? A lot of guys say, I'm never going to run Masters. Well, I'm 39 or 40. Maybe I will run Masters. And that's what we're going to do next, folks. Another quick break in the action. When we get back, Master Shifter, the preview here on episode 81 of the OutLap. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the ceramic product line, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready for the 2022 season with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 is our new chassis for tag and shifter racing, and it's been designed specifically for the US market. The KT5 features 30mm construction with a 32mm front loop to increase front grip. CRG's new Ben 13 brake system is cutting-edge technology with a master cylinder that allows for pressure regulation within the system. Drivers can customize brake pressure to their own requirements to improve feel and to avoid brake lockup. The kart is finished with new KG 507, 508 bodywork that has refined aerodynamics and reduced weight. For cadet drivers, the 2022 CRG Black Mirror is already logging positive results to start the new season. This chassis will be making big waves in 2022. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. With four-cycle racing enjoying consistent growth in North America, CRG's FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs & Stratton competition. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. CRG Nordam has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrg-nordam.com. Okay, let's dive back in it here. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. We're going to move into the master shifter category, 50 drivers in shifter. You think about a couple of years ago when it just felt like shifter kart racing was struggling a little bit, right? They got rid of the stock Honda, the engine that with the CR125, which was such the foundation of shifter kart racing for many, many years. SKUSA tried to move into their 175 package. That didn't really take. KZ then jumped into the program, David, and it has really rock and rolled, and it's good to see it again. It's so exciting for us guys that love watching shifter kart racing. Heck, that's how SKUSA started. That's how I started Shifter Kart Illustrated. It was all about bagging gears. 50 drivers set to go, David, and it's going to be an unbelievable grid of drivers.
It certainly is. It's leveled the playing field with the world. Like, everybody understands the KZ package all over the world. It allows the international guys to come over and do this category rather than trying to figure out the engine platform for the USA to be able to race the SuperNationals. So it's just, it's amazing to see that. And again, this is a category that's been part of the SuperNationals dating back to 2000 when they first started the G1 division. So it's been a long time part of the SuperNationals and Superkarts USA. Let's go over the last 5 winners. David Foray winning in last year, the Italian, or Davide Foray. Sorry, I got to get that right.
There you go. Remember he told us.
Yeah, I know. Antonio Pizzonia Jr. Winning in 2022. Joey Wimsett came back to win one and then hasn't been back since.
Mic drop.
And then Matt Hamilton winning in 2019. Rob Logan in 2018. And then that's more than 5, I guess. And then Ryan Kinnear in 2017. Another mic drop. He hasn't been back since winning as well, too.
Look at the SCUSA Pro Tour points. Drivers we expect to be watching here to a certain extent. Obviously, Sketchy Barnes has had some good runs. Joe Rook as well. Luis Quiones, Michael Guash, and Mike Rivera. I mentioned him as a GFC guy. That was your top 5 in points. David, give us some of the notes because there are. I love the notes you have in all the previews because there's just some cool things in terms of where the drivers are from, former winners, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the former winners list in this category has grown to 6. We'll get more into that later, but only 2 are former Master Shifter winners that are in the field. That we've already said of David De Foray and Rob Logan making a return. We'll get more into that a little bit later. 66 years of age is the eldest driver in the field. I did not write the name. Let me see if I can find it there. Michael Guash. That's right. I forgot. Michael Guash. Yeah, the driver from Norcal.
66 going on 40. Right?
Yeah, that guy's a machine when it comes to keeping his body good and working out. So unreal. 17 drivers from outside the USA. I think that's a big up from the last couple of years. 10 different countries represented in the field. So again, a very diverse field that we do have here in Master Shifter.
Thoughts on your picks, folks? If you're watching the show, drop your picks in the comments. We'll bring those up. Here's one to start things off before we dive into our predictions. Race Liberanti says Billy Musgrave, Anthony Abbas, Joe Rook, Jordan Musser, and Davide Foray. Abbas isn't on our entry list. He was able to win the KZ Masters World Championship, correct?
Yeah, Abbas won the KZ2 Masters World title in Portugal, not on the entry list. So again,
does Race know something we don't know?
Maybe he's going to be in that, but it's tough because it's sold out. We're at 50, so I don't believe they're going to be able to allow him in because of that.
Past champions provisional.
maybe they could pull the NASCAR card out. I don't know. But again, this preview, this entry list will come out tomorrow on the website, so we'll have that. And again, maybe next year we'll shift the previews to come out right away, so that way when we do our shows, we can have the entry list online ready for you to look at.
Oh, we'd have to do it like a Thursday it's just the way things line up.
It's a little difficult, yeah.
We're not stacking on top every day as a new preview. Give you some fresh content on the website. So that's the way we do it, and you'll get to be able. We'll talk about it here, but you'll be able to dive deeper into all the articles that Dave writes. So
and by Tuesday, once we get Trackside, you'll be able to talk a lot of crap to us, but not picking these drivers and this and that. So
100%. All right, David Cole, you won all the categories. You're leading off today completely. What do you got?
Well, let me look and see what I scored last year. Oh, 18 points last year in this category.
Woo! Wow. Was that the high total?
Almost a perfect score. Almost, it is the highest total of a category. I had first, second, third, and fourth picked correctly. Correctly. Foray, Musser, Keck, Pedozzo. Did not get my top 5, but oh well, it happens.
Who'd you have in 5th?
I don't even know. I don't want to research that. Right. It was probably a driver who didn't show up, I'm guessing.
Wow.
Anyway.
Otherwise, I would have got it.
Otherwise, I would have got it, yeah. It wasn't Sketchy Barnes, I can tell you that.
All right, go.
Here we go. So, the cat's out of the bag. Billy Musgrave going to be racing in the Master Shifter category. I even had a text with him earlier today, and I said, Billy, are you racing both? And he didn't get back to me. So still waiting on that. So he could be one of those guys that is a no-go, but I'm got to assume if he's on the entry list, he's going to be racing it. And the Summer Nationals winner in the Pro Shifter category, I think is going to be able to grab that historic 5th victory at the SuperNationals to put himself on the pedestal ahead of everybody else. The driver that I thought I was going to select to win it all was Boss Lammers, but that was until Billy Musgrave showed up on the entry list. Boss Lammers, again, a driver who could race Pro Shifter and is racing Pro Shifter at the SuperNationals this year. So he'll be doing double duty as well. Just an amazing talent, a former winner back in, let me see what year that was, 2009. That was the Schumacher year. if everybody remembers correctly. So Boss Lammers coming away with a victory, but he's been on the podium. Let's see, 6 of the 7 times he's raced out the SuperNationals. 10th was his worst finish. Wow. So the guy is just extremely talented. So is multi-time world champion Davide Fore, last year's winner. Finally was able to make things happen, get the SuperNationals victory that he's been gunning for over a decade. Got that victory. I'm going still international. Thomas Mitch, the French driver. He's got
14 years ago he raced in KZ.
He raced KZ here. 4th, 5th were his results back in 2010, 2011. Ended up finishing 7th at the KZ2 Masters World Championship in Portugal. So if you're top 10 there, you got to be top 5 here. That's the way I'm kind of looking at that. So the Burrell Art's been super fast, as we've seen with Mateus Morgado all season long with that TM power plant. So I gotta put him in there. And then another former driver we've seen race in the KZ category many, many times. And I think even S1 category a couple times as well, too, with the stock moto package. Patrick Hajek. He's been wrenching. He's been wrenching all season with Rollison Performance Group. But he's another guy that can just jump in and be quick. He's 34 years of age, Rob. So he's been Masters age for a couple of years now. And this is going to be his first in the category. 2015, he was P4 in the SCUSA Pro Tour in S1. His best finish at the SuperNationals was 2nd in KZ in 2015, that same year. So that's my top 5. It's Factory Kart, Ital Kart, Burrell Art, and OTK.
I will say this, just because he's Czechoslovakian, we'll give a little shout out to Patrick. There's not supposed to be a C in his name there. I get a little apologies for that. I always want to make sure Patrick does not have a C in his name. That's okay.
Yeah, he did spell it wrong. Yep, sorry.
Exactly. That's all right. So listen, I like it. I like the lineup. This is the crazy thing right now. Like I said, folks, there's so many good master shifters drivers that we have and have had for many years here in our program. But when you get this influx of former world champions, like top level world champion KZ drivers, you just expect that there's a level of another level there that they're going to be able to dive in there. Gary Osterl coming in here and says, "Don't sleep on Musser and Rook." And again, it's both those drivers have the ability to be top 5, but man, they're going to have to be at the very top of their game to be able to run against these guys that were essentially factory drivers for the European manufacturers over the years. Roll into mine, because you and I saying the same thing about Billy Musgrave. This is a guy that can run up front, toe-to-toe with Morgado to win the Summer Nationals this year. 32 years of age. He could have been Masters a couple of years ago. This is a great opportunity for him to put a factory card on top of the SuperNats again. So Musgrave I got for the win. Very similar to you. Got Davide Fore in 2nd. Double duty last year. The guy's just so good. Boss Lammers, again, I love seeing Boss here. One of the nicest guys in the paddock as well. Always a pleasure to see Boss. I have him in the top 5 as well. I do put Jordan Musser in here because he's still looking for that first SuperNationals win, but just always there. Jordan always just finds a way to be there. The consistency's there. He's a veteran. He knows to get to the end. I mentioned earlier today, you got to be there on Super Sunday. He's been around long enough, like all these other drivers have. I think he'll be in the middle of it. And David, I'm with you there as well. Patrick Hajek, again, just another talented driver. He's raced before here in the SuperNats. So, yeah, I expect to see these guys. This is my top 5, kind of a mix between some of the top Masters drivers and, again, KZ stars that are coming in. And again, like we said, if I scroll back down and looked at my top 10, David, we'll go over it later. There's so many guys on the outside that have always been right there. The Skitchy Barnes. We talked about the Rob Logans. Like, there's more guys that we'll talk about when we wrap up Nate's picks as well.
Yeah, here are Nate's picks. It's a sweep. Billy Musgrave across the board. He has Davide Fore in 2nd, Jordan Musser in 3rd, Boss Lammers in 4th, and then, as you said, Robert Budojo, who finished in the 4th spot last year in his return to the SuperNationals for the first time since 2015 when he ran S2, finished 4th that year. So again, limited racing time for Robbie on track, but he's been super quick every time he's been at the SuperNationals before. So he's definitely one of those drivers that is going to be a podium contender going into the event for sure. on the Magic Cart.
And David, I know that all you have to care about is typing it and spelling it correctly. Budosho.
Bujdo. Bujdozo.
When I had a great
know
time.
you guys were there in Bermuda. Yeah.
In Bermuda. We had such a good time together.
I just call him Robbie.
running with CRG Bermuda. It was such a great time there. And so Robert, I asked him, how do I say it correctly? And it was
say it again.
Robert Budosho. That's as close as I can get. Budosho. All right. So another guy picking, somebody said Vincent Cassard. Yes, Pierce Balda says Vincent Cassard. He was pretty good last year, top 10, right?
Well, he's not on the entry list. So that he is. No, he is there. There he is. Yes.
There. Yeah, he's there. 6th last year.
And he was actually top 5 at the World Championships until contact with, I believe it was Andre Nicastro, who's no stranger to contact at big events.
At the SuperNats.
Yeah. So Cassard's been fast. He definitely is one of those guys. Maybe he'll have a little bit more incentive with some of the factory guys from CRG here. Definitely he's definitely a contender for sure.
Sketchy Barnes has had a couple of podiums, as we said, 3rd and 22, 5th and 21. A driver who has one of the most consistent results in this whole program is the Crow Show. John Crow, he'll be on a factory card as well. In the last 5 years in this category, he's been in the top 5. But you go back to Stock Moto, and he was 3rd and 3rd. He's been in the top 10, David. Last 7 years, John Crow has finished in the top 10.
Yeah, and he is one of our former winners in the field, winning the Tag Masters category back in 2005.
Wow, amazing. Scrolling back down to some other drivers as well that I think will be in the middle of the fight. Victor Jimenez has got a couple of top 10s, David. Rob Logan, as we know, was a winner back in 2018. A number of top 10s there, a couple of podiums for him as well. A lot of top 10s,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of top 10s. So, other than the DNF in 2016, top 10, right? So,
I just say Rust. I think that's going to be his problem. He hasn't been in the seat as far as we know. Not racing. He's maybe doing some laps, but again, it's going to be a quick jump. He's going to have to get acclimated really quick. Really quick, indeed. Joe Rook, we mentioned him already, a driver who's been kind of at the forefront of the master shifter movement here the last number of years. It seems like kind of feast or famine for him. 4th a couple of years ago, another top 10 the year before that. Last year, 22nd. It seems like he gets a little bit of bad luck here and there. But if Joe rolls in and hits it on the Maranello, they've got great power. We know that. Vincenzo Saracino says Joe Rook as well. There's another driver. Again, for me, he was that 6 to 10 where I was trying to see who I was going to slot in to P4 and P5. Yeah, another one. We go back 20 years. This guy nearly won the SuperNationals. An engine seized for him in the Super Pro category. Wow. Alan Shudo coming back. He was 2nd in 2022 when we were at the Rio. Just missing out on the victory, was one of the quickest guys all week long. Yep. Didn't race last year, but is coming back. So he's definitely a podium contender for sure. The thing about Alan is, and again, you go back, David, that year that he almost won was your very first year at the SuperNationals with ekartingnews.com. We just bought the website. But he's just a natural talent. Yeah. He's one of those guys that you throw him in a cart at any time and he's going to be there. We've watched him come through the ADCC junior ranks. I think he might have won the U.S. Amateur Championships. That was the AMP Champs series event they had. I think he ran for Tom Kutcher as well. I think he was an extreme karting driver for Tom Kutcher. He was at one time, yeah. On an MBA, I think it was. Yeah. Back in the day. Jonathan Tolo, GFC driver as well, too. And then Ryan Yop, that's another name from back in the past. He's actually going to be joining, racing alongside Jordan Musser and all the Burrell Art guys under the PSL karting tent. There you go, folks. That is the Masters Shifter category. Starting to get interesting now. Out of the Masters categories, when we get back after this quick break, KA100 Senior. How do you pick out of 94 drivers? All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. 8 brands under the OTK USA banner are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour, the Challenge of the Americas,
the SKUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, the United States Pro Kart Series, and even more programs throughout the country. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, EOS, and Red Speed have been joined by the Gallard, LN Racing Kart, and CS55 brands. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, visit otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. OTK, the gold standard of karting. Motor mounts. They keep your engine attached to your chassis, right? The answer is, they're much more important than that. Your motor mount is critical in transferring 100% of the power from your engine through to your tires and the racetrack. You need this to get on the podium each and every time you race. Odenthal Racing Products is here for you, providing the best motor mounts on the karting market today, all designed to make sure you're using all the horsepower you pay for. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience in providing products with unmatched quality and value for our racing community. The Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, which is available in 0, 5, and 8-degree inclinations, provides a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a minimum without adding too much weight to your setup. The 4-cycle Easy Set system is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, our ORP wedge clamps get the job done, and they feature a number of design updates to provide a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro style sizes. And now, Odenthal has also revolutionized the karting industry with its new Easy GP camera mounting system. Designed to mount anywhere on your chassis with 1 or 2 cameras, the ORP Easy GP camera mount is your solution to capture that onboard winning moment. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, proudly made in the USA. Welcome back to the OutLap preview podcast of the SuperNationals 27. This is essentially our second show. We did the cadet and junior classes yesterday. If you haven't seen those, you can head over to the YouTube channel and watch that show as well. Nate Dean joined us for that one. Not able to make it with us here this evening. This show brought to you by Comet Kart Sales. David and I are going to kind of dive into the next category. 3 more to go. KA100 Senior, X30 Pro, and of course the Pro Shifter category to wrap things up today. David, let's have a look at this class. KA100 Senior, presented by Factory Karts. 94 entries. You look at some of the names of drivers who have won this class, and it's really some of the big dogs. One from Europe we're seeing get into cars right now as well. The last year's winner getting into cars too. The SKUSA Pro Tour points, I think you're going to see potentially all 5 of those drivers in the fight as well, especially the guy that walked away with the championship.
Yeah, Ernesto Rivera, Tomas Stolcermanis winning in 2022. Brandon Lemke, a former winner. Paulie Massimino, a former winner. And then Steven Barros, the inaugural winner back in 2018. Those 3 races were wild and crazy. But I would expect with 94 karts or 94 drivers, this year is going to be insane as well. Looking at the SKUSA Pro Tour points, all 5 drivers going to be in the field this year. We got James Overbeck coming in as a SKUSA Pro Tour champion, his first major championship. Finnegan Bailiff finishing in second ahead of Henry Wheeler. Eli Warren, the privateer, finishing in 4th. And then Connor Ferris rounding out the top 5 for the championship chase.
Yeah, I want to go back something first, because if I'm not mistaken, it was that second year, 2019, when I think that's kind of when we started checking the pushback bumpers before we sent drivers around to the podium, because of there was some major contact over in the left-hand hairpin, pushback bumper.
That was the year. Yeah, that was the year Lemke, and I think it was Christian. No, somebody. I don't think it was Christian Brooks. He wouldn't have been running KA, but him and Lemke got together with somebody. It might have been even Paulie Massimino. I don't know. Lemke had a pushback bumper, fell all the way back to, I think, 15th, and drove his way up to the lead and took the provisional win, but the pushback bumper penalty took the victory away, giving it to Massimino.
Yep.
And then Lemke said stats don't lie and came back and won the next year.
He won it the next year, which was a really cool storyline for
Unreal.
sure.
Yeah.
Unreal. David, let's have a look at some of the notes you have. The fact that we do have a couple of senior K100 senior winners in the field looking to try to grab their second wins.
Yeah, we've already talked about it with Paulie Massimino and Brandon Lemke as former winners. Those are two guys that are going to be in the field. We have three former. What's that?
Can they do it? Can they win their second ones?
Yeah, because we have not had a second winner in this category for sure. Three former winners of the SuperNationals in the field. 7 drivers are graduating from the junior ranks to the senior ranks this year at the SuperNationals. 38 drivers in total with no SuperNationals experience. So about a third of the field. So, it's going to be very tough to get into that top 40, or top 36, I think it is, to be able to make the main. And there's actually going to be drivers who don't make the LCQ as well too, because they do narrow that down as well, based on your points. So you got to get through the heat races. I think that's going to be the major key element in K100 senior for sure.
Dave, how many of those 38 drivers, their first Supernats, how many are going to spin their first session? How many are going to wall up their first session on the racetrack, especially if it's cold? How many are going to wreck in turn number 1 of a heat race start?
The good thing is we have 2 groups, so hopefully they'll be split up a little bit, so it won't be 2. There are 16 turns, and so you'll have about 16, depending on how they split it up, 16 newbies out there. So we'll see.
Can we do a quick little rewind, because we may need to change our picks for the master shifter, because Joe Rook just gave us some really good insight. He said he's going to win after he takes out the top 5.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I didn't want to put that up there because he was talking about violence. We can't condone violence. Come on,
it doesn't have to be violent. It could be like really slow and relaxed. And
have you seen Joe work out? He's pretty violent.
Yeah, that's true. He's pretty violent. Well, that's right. They do, what do you call it? They do CrossFit, don't they?
Yeah. So 23 drivers from outside the USA, 12 different countries represented in the field.
Indeed.
So it is an international field.
So again, this was one of those ones, folks. Dave, we get the spreadsheets here, and literally, you keep scrolling through 90 something drivers. You highlight who you think. There's so many drivers that I've highlighted that, again, you feel bad not potentially putting them in the top 5 or even the top 10, because this is one of those classes at 94 with the amount of talent we have. There's going to be somebody that's won a national race this year who won't be in the top 15.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know what I mean? That's like, this guy's capable of winning at a SCUSA race or a Stars race. Or
you got to remember, Rob, this is a one-off race. Anything can happen. This is Las Vegas. Anything can happen.
If you have a pick, get it down there. I want to see your pick.
Yeah.
In the comments. Let's see what you got. David Cole, you got honors.
I do have honors. I'll look at the points real quick. K100 senior. I only had 6 points to your 1 point with Nate having 3. So
you got the big goose egg
down in that.
Oh my God.
You got the big goose egg. So here are my picks.
All right.
This is the shocker. Double duty on the week for the British driver Joe Turney, who is going to be making his first SuperNational start. Obviously was not able to compete last year due to the injury sustained at the World Championships. So I have a British 1-2 finish with Joe Turney and Oliver Hodgson, the now USA driver. I will say that he is dual citizen or dual license. So he is racing under both the USA license and UK license. So I think, again, this is going to be the way I did my top 5 is about experience. I think, like you said, we've already said it. You got to be there on Sunday. This is a category where you can't make a mistake in the heat race, because if you do, you might not even make the LCQ.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the hardest thing to do. And I think these guys are going to be the fast ones out of the gate, and they're going to be smart. There's no reason, hey, lose a position, fight for the next lap. And, the Hodgson does that very well. He's a Rotax world champion from back in 2013, was in contention this year in the senior category. I think he races the K a lot better. than the X30 in my opinion, but we'll see how it shakes out. But I have Turney, Hodgson 1-2. I got Race Liberante coming back after a devastating DNF last year, and while in contention, he'll be racing under the Rock Island Grand Prix Scholarship Program and the Simpson Motorsports STL program with MPG Motorsports as well too. I think Race he's a former winner. He's won their Pro 2 back in 2019. I have him finishing in third because, again, experience is going to be very key in this category. Overbeck's going to be kind of the wild card because he doesn't quite have the experience, but is shown all season long to be super fast, and he knows when to make a move, when not to. I think his knowledge of racing has grown immensely from last year to this year. So I put him fourth, and I got his teammate from Brandon Jarscrack Racing, Mike Doty Racing, Paulie Massimino in the fifth position.
Yeah, all the stuff you said about those guys, I think is bang on. Good insight there. Overbeck, as you said, had a great year this year, winning the SCUSA championship. He and Massimino worked very well together. Of course, they were teammates for the Mark Harris Memorial 200, the endurance race at Newcastle. Overbeck's, again, year-on-year improvement. This kid's growing up like crazy, and he's around the right people, right? He's around Brandon Jarscrack. He's around Paulie Massimino. He's got the good people around him. I actually did a track walk at the CKNA race because I was under the BJR Precision Performance Karting tent, and I did a track walk with him. And I like doing track walks with these young kids because to see how they handle themselves. And I was really impressed with James, the way he was kind of breaking down the track for the guys that were with me, some of the younger kids and a couple of us older guys. So I think Overbeck's going to be good. Let's go to mine.
No, Nate's very similar.
Next. Oh, Nate's next.
Yeah, Nate.
I thought Nate had 0, you said.
No, Nate had 2, I thought. What did I say?
Oh, he said 0. All right. So he's going Massimino. There you go. He goes Paulie Massimino coming back to win his second KA 100 senior main event on Super Sunday. Massimino in second. Alan Isambard, who indeed has been impressive in KA racing this year. He's in second. He's got Overbeck in there. Turney back into fourth. I think the only way Turney finishes fourth if he gets wrecked. I'm sorry. And then Oliver Calvo, again, he was right in there with mine as well. Oliver's had some great success at the SuperNats. And listen, let's just throw a Calvo thing out here. Remember where we saw Oliver first get good at the temporary street circuits, Dave? Multiple wins at the Streets of Lancaster.
Yeah, Streets of Lancaster for sure.
He would do Lancaster in the California Pro Kart Challenge. That was kind of this warm-up race around the barriers to be able to come to the SuperNats. And Oliver's he's really shown his ability to run on temporary.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I always picked him, and the only time he was on the podium was in 2016.
I know.
So he failed me there, so I can't put him back up there. But I will.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Yep. Oh yeah. Total 80s rock and roll, baby.
Right.
Yeah, great story for Isambard. Again, wasn't going to be racing KA senior, and then when USPKS dropped the pro shifter category, he moved over and won the opener back in at the Speed Sports Racing Complex. So, yeah, it's cool to see him. And again, he could be one of those guys that ends up on the podium because, again, he might have the patience and understanding to know when to go and when not to.
All right. Good picks there for Nate Dean. And I'm with you with Joe Turney being up front. He's a former world champion. The guy can drive. We know how good and he's good over here too. He knows the tires. It's not like he's come over and never run the Vinco tires. So he knows the tires. He's run here before. So I think he'll be super strong. And he's a world champion, as I said. He's a mature driver as well. He's not a 16 or 17-year-old. So he's going to be able to handle the pressure of the entire week. So Turney, I see him getting the win here. Same goes with Paulie Massimino. I've been really impressed with the way Paulie's kind of, and I don't want to say developed over the last couple of years because he's been a top guy for many years, but he's really settled into the role as being one of the guys, one of the spotlight drivers in the sport. And I think a lot of drivers can struggle with that when you're getting a lot of the attention, when you're running up front, and he's just become a guy that I think is very controlled, very focused on what he does. I see Massimino having a great run. He and Overbeck, of course, teammates at BJR, Mike Doty Racing. So those guys are going to work together. And listen, they were teammates, as I said, at the 200 lapper, and they're teammates all year long. It's good to have a teammate out there, especially when you're racing against the likes of Joe Turney. So this could flip-flop because if they end up breaking away and there's a battle between the three of them, we talked about the last couple of corners. I like all three of those drivers to finish somewhere in the top three. it's always hard for me to put Brandon Lemke in the top 5 just because he's just so good. He's almost like he's like the KA 100 senior specialist. You know what I mean? He's the guy that can just really handle that level of horsepower. I put Lemke P4, and again, Oliver Hodgson's the same thing. He is like a tourney. He is a veteran driver, handles every situation. And I'll say this: he's one of those drivers, if he breaks away, he's gone. Right? He's going to be able to take off. Now the long straightaways here. We said all the way from 16, all the way through 1 over to turn 4 could make things interesting. But another driver, I have a problem. Like, how do you not put Oliver Hodgson in the top 5?
How do I didn't put Lemke in. That was very tough because again, he's got a top 5 finish in 3 of his last 3 starts, including a victory. So it's very tough not to put him in there. But again, it's kind of the roll of the dice with our predictions and who we put in the top 5. So and then with 94 drivers, it's really easy to miss a lot of guys and not put them in the top 5 because again, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's just you just throw guys that, like, you got Donovan. I'm gonna start from the top. It's obviously alphabetically, right? You've got Finnegan Bailiff, who we've seen run extremely well. Donovan Bonilla won the Pro X30 last year. John Burke's been a guy we've seen run very strongly in the junior categories. He hasn't had the greatest luck in the senior level. Chase Busaglia moving up. Brandon Carr, although 36 last year, he's done a lot of SuperNats over the past couple of years. He's a veteran driver there. How about the shoe Jake Drew? Anytime he gets in the cart, David, that's a guy who could be in the top 5 at any time. Same goes with Chase Hand. He could be the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a possibility to put them in the top 5 again. It's Jake Drew's been fast every time he's in. He's a former pole sitter in X30 back in 2021 when we were at this side of the facility. So he could definitely it could be a GFC partnership up front. We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You put Hand together with Drew, and all of a sudden they're in the middle of the
fight.
Don't
forget Keegan Kaminsky as well too under the GFC tent. So you got 3 drivers right there that could be on the podium.
And this guy would be right against the fence screaming and yelling. Tony Saragusa. Because remember, Kaminsky, like you said, crosses the finish line in second last year, but he was first in Rock, didn't get the win with the pushback bumper, but was right in the middle of the fight up front. So Kaminsky, who again was a junior driver last year, he was junior last year, was he not?
No, moved up to senior. Or was junior last year.
Yes. He finished 9th in KA junior last year.
Well, so but won it on track, I think, and had a pushback. Yeah.
Well, he didn't. Yeah, he said second. Anyways, so there's Christian Miles, another driver who could be in the fight, right? Christian Miles could be there. How about fast Frankie Mossman? He was 3rd 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's another driver. He was really good in X30 senior in 2021 at the location where we're going to again. So that could be the ticket for him as well too.
We see you, Jake. The shoe, Jake Drew, in the middle of the fight. We'll give that out to Chappie, the shoe.
Yeah, so you look at Peyton Phillips, another driver who could be up there. Aiden Rudolph of CRG Nordam. Jesus Vasquez Jr., another GFC driver as well too. So there could be 5 GFCs in the top 10. There's no doubt about that.
True. Here comes the train. And again, that's the way things are going to shake down. And we haven't really brought this in here as well. It's all about the heat races, right? Because remember, it's all the heat groups. So you're going to you got to stay out of trouble. You got to finish up front in your heat races. If you're 6th or 7th in the heat race, remember, everybody, you're starting further back. Do you feel, Dave, you got to start top 10 to win in this level of a field? Or can you do it? If it goes 20, probably 20 laps for KA, how deep can you be and still be in the fight?
Out of the 5 events that we've had this year, or it's 5 SuperNationals with this category, 7th was the furthest back anybody started to win. That was Steven Barros the first year. It's been 2nd place, 4th place, 1st, and 1st.
Wow.
So I would say the average is top 5.
I'm going to throw this out here for you, Dave, because you are obviously the stats man of karting for the last 25 years. There's a guy that sits, I don't know if he'll be with them this year, but there's a guy that sits beside the IndyCar crew at NBC races. Russ Thompson.
Russ Thompson, yeah.
Okay, you're the next Russ Thompson, 100%. You're the one that's going to have all the stats. I used to have all the stats, but my hard drive is full, and you have a spreadsheet that has it.
Well, your hard drive was here.
This one's full. Exactly right. Exactly
I do electronically.
Well, I'm sure Russ does too, but a little bit of both. So again, like we said, guys, there are so many drivers that could step it up here in this particular category. I love the spread of drivers. We've got some 14-year-olds. What have we got? I see a 31-year-old. What's the oldest driver? I think 31, maybe the oldest. No, 33.
Masters guys.
Hold on. 33. TJ Coyen. I think he's the oldest guy.
Wow.
Nope, 41. Carlos Reyes, 41 years of age.
Yeah, there were a couple guys in that I don't think got into Masters, so they had to come over and race seniors. So that one name is that Franco Crivella, finished 5th in Masters last year. So I'm thinking maybe he didn't get registered in time, moved over to senior. So that's interesting.
TJ Coyen just needs to stay out of trouble. Every time we see TJ, he's got speed, he's moving forward, and he gets collected by some dumbass out there who drives over top of him.
Well, again, he
posts the video all the time.
Again, Rob, what did I say? There's 38 guys who have not made a start at the SuperNationals in this category. So that's a big part of it.
And they'll be all around TJ. Oh, poor TJ on the best cart, by the way. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's the only best cart.
I think it probably
in the field because I don't think there's anybody else running it.
All right. What do we have? Did anybody else throw some picks out there? Tipton Evans said Peyton Phillips and Brandon Lemke, 2 drivers up front here. Waters, Christian Miles, definitely 100% there. Corey Simpson already mentioned Race Liberante. You did that as well. Westige coming in saying the Team FMS has special sticker kits for KA Masters. I love that. What do you got? Henry Korn, Joe Rook. Yes, we know.
Wow, he's going to finish the first, second, and third. Awesome.
Get her done. That's it. All right, folks, another break. When we get back, it's time to head into the pro drivers. After this break, we will go with the X30 senior category. There's a new hot button name in American safety equipment, Stilo USA. Every product with Stilo is focused on safety, comfort, and function. Stilo USA is happy to provide you with the proper safety apparel to keep you protected on the track, and their karting lineup is second to none. New to the product lineup is the Stilo Carbon CMR karting helmet. Designed to revolutionize your karting experience, this carbon fiber crafted helmet is among the lightest on the market, without compromising on safety. The Stilo ST5 KRT karting helmet is manufactured using a lightweight and extremely strong composite material. The KRT provides an excellent fit and comfort level due to its dual density interior foam lining, and it's equipped with a symmetrical visor that offers excellent vision and an effortless central visor locking system. The Stilo ST5 CMR standard was developed jointly by the FIA Institute and Snell Memorial Foundation to ensure safer and lighter weight helmets for younger karters. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, lightweight construction, and the unparalleled field of vision that is perfect for the youth helmet line. Stilo didn't stop with their helmets either. The newly developed Carbon Curva rib protector is unlike any other on the market, with a form-fitting solution to offer superior protection. The Carbon Curva 8870 version is FIA homologated and includes a chest protector. Head to StiloHelmets.com to review these products and many more to keep you safe on the track. Stilo. Any competition, one helmet. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level of track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? Two classes to go, folks, here in this edition of the OutLap Preview Podcast. Starting off, of course, our coverage for this year's SuperNationals. David's banging out the class-by-class previews that are being posted, of course, on the website every day. New class every day. You can link through any of the social media channels, Facebook, X, and Instagram, where we post them up there. Just click through and see Dave's full insight on each category. He's doing a great job with those right now. Moving now into the X30 senior class. Rawls Performance Group, the sponsor of the category. 61 drivers in total. You go through the names. You got to go all the way back to 2003, essentially, when it was Tag Senior. Before we went to the straight, IAME platform, David. Back in the day with Tag Senior, man, there was what we had the Sonic, we had the Leopard, we had the Rock, we had the 4-stroke Beeland at one point.
Yeah,
was in the tag category. The Rotax, of course, was in there as well. So there's been a number of different engine platforms, of course, over the last number of years. SCUSA and USPKS as well have locked and loaded with the IAME, which has given a lot of great stability to the sport here right now. But, man, you got to go. There's a lot of winners from this category that's been going for 21 years now.
Yes, this will be the 21st edition of this category at the event. Rob, we've had 20 different winners in 20 different events. So that is the record right now for the streak going for the SuperNationals. That
doesn't make any sense.
It's a one-offs, baby. I mean, it's very tough. This is, again, one of the toughest categories to win. We've seen it come down to inches with Andre Nicastro and David Serra back in 2010. We've seen guys dominate. Marco Mastranzi coming from 24th to win by 3 seconds back in 2014 alone.
Drivers who have gone on to professional careers, of course, Toby Schechter, Joel Miller, a driver who actually won, I think, in 1998 or 1999 in the 60cc novice shifter class out of the rock pile. Of course, he's gone on to race professionally for Mazda, still a professional driver. He won in 2007. Daniel Morad, who continues to race in 2006. You go forward to Gavi Chavez, who won the Indy Lights Championship in 2014, then went and ran IndyCar for a number of years. He's still a professional driver. Then you move to drivers more recently, David. You got some of the ones that we've seen going to be at the top of the food chain for a while there. Jake Craig, of course, a huge victory in 2016 at Las Vegas Convention Center. Ryan Norberg, I think, for me, one of the bigger race wins. You know, a guy that's a legend in the sport back in 2021, David, when he was able to finally get that SuperNationals victory of all the championships, all these championships he's won, but to be able to get that SuperNationals win, I just think it was that missing piece of the puzzle that really has completed Ryan's position as one of the best kart racers in the history of the sport here in America.
And he'll be the first to tell you it's not easy to do it. It really isn't. You know, we thought he was going to do it again last year and ended up being Donovan Bonilla coming through and picking up the victory and dominating by over 3 seconds in that race. Because again, you just don't know how things are going to shake out, especially starting in qualifying where you end up. Then you got to get through the heat races. And then what happens if there's an opening wreck or guys don't want to work together when you're up front on Sunday, and that allows one or two drivers to get away. And it's so hard to get that extra bit to catch up to guys because these guys are so close up front. It's faster than KA, but it's just as tight of racing that it is in KA as well.
Yeah. David, give us the SCUSA Pro Tour points for obviously the SCUSA SuperNationals. Where do you think these guys in the top 5 are going to shake down when it's all said and done?
Well, yeah, they're all in the field. You got Ryan Norberg coming back with a 6 Superkarts USA Pro Tour Championship record setting. Hayden Jones on basically a part-time schedule, finishing 2nd in the championship ahead of Diego Ramos, Brandon Carr in 4th, and then Paulie Massimino in 5th. So again, these guys, 2 of them are former winners. A couple others have had podium finishes there. So again, it's a really solid core group of drivers that finished top 5 in the Pro Tour.
And David, in your notes, I know you're going to be able to go through these. We talked about the fact that there's 540 something entries. We're going to do the math to figure out exactly how many single drivers there are. You'll talk about double duty drivers, number of drivers running KA and X30 senior, as we know. But one of the key ones, it's your last one. I'll let you get to it. But man, half the field is international.
Yeah, from outside the USA, so a lot of Canadians coming down, so that's a good chunk of it. But yeah, that's the good part. And I said we could get more if we had more in this field if we had some of the USA drivers who are doing car racing coming back for this one off, but they're not. They're focused. There's guys in Europe that aren't able to come over as well too. So yeah, 30 drivers from outside the USA, 13 different countries represented in the field. As you said, double duty drivers, 17 doing both KA Junior or KA Senior and X30 Pro. 5 drivers are from the junior ranks last year that were at this event. So not a lot of drivers moving up. Like I said, if we had more of those, this field would be even bigger. 4 former Super National winners in the field. And we've said 2 former winners of this category have the opportunity to become the first ever 2-time winner in this class.
That's it. All right, folks, we're going to go into our predictions. Drop them down there. Who do you think is going to win? We take the heat on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday from Danny Formal. Who do you think is going to come away with the big dollars in this category? David Cole, you're first out of the gate.
Yeah, I got to go with the should-have-been world champion twice, Joe Turney. Obviously, last year his injury took him out of the championship. Or the wreck took him out of the possibility of winning the world championship, and then getting run over took him out of racing out the Super Nationals last year. I got him doing the double. No driver has been able to win both X30 and KA at the same Super Nationals. So this, for my prediction, this would be a record-setting event for Joe Turney to be able to do both. But he does have, as we've talked about, a very solid group of drivers that are going to be fighting for the victory. Among them, fellow British driver Kai Hunter. We saw him come over and win in USPKS competition at Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. So he's shown he can come over here and be the top dog as he took it to all the regulars that we do have here in the USA. And one of them being Ryan Norberg. Norberg and him battled until Norberg had a mechanical taking him out of that. But I have Ryan Norberg finishing in third behind these 2 drivers. I think, unlike what we saw at the Rotax Grand Finals, I think these 2 Brits are going to work together and get away from everybody and decide it rather than wreck each other on lap 3. So that's what I have. I think, again, Norberg's going to have to fight his way up into third. I think Austin Garrison going to be fast all week long. A former Pro Tour champion in the S2 category, now a USPKS champion and X30. He's been fast all year. I don't see him not outside the top 5 all week. I got him finishing in 4th with Speed Concepts Racing. And then, as I mentioned in the Pro Tour Championship chase, Hayden Jones ran a part-time schedule, but he's done very well for a limited schedule for him. He finished in the what spot? I've got to find. Sorry, I'm looking. Can't find it. I'm in the wrong class. He finished in 6th last year. So I got him moving up. That's what it was. 6th last year. I got him moving up 1 spot to finish 5th. I think he's going to be among those top 10 drivers all week long as well.
Before you flash to mine, let's hear. Always good to hear from drivers. Oliver Cavill says Austin Garrison, X30 winner, definite possibility. Henry Korn, Chase Jones. So staying with team. What do you call it? Team loyalty, right? Team allegiance there. Sticking with the guys under the tent. So a couple of drivers could. And Henry also says Nix Eggleston as a wild card. I think that'll be a big step for Nix to be able to in the middle of the fight here. But man, let's see what you got.
Yeah, he was. He was junior 6th place in junior last year. So
this isn't junior.
Again, I know, but it would be really cool to see him top 10 for sure.
Heck yeah. All right, let's roll over to mine. I'm going Ryan Norberg. And again, when him and Turney, I have him and Turney together. I got Garrison right there as well, right? So these are the 3 drivers that we're seeing kind of step forward as the veterans with the experience, with the maturity. They've won all the races. They understand. It's one of those things that every once in a while when I'm on the track and I'm in the middle of a battle, and everything happens so fast when I'm in a battle sometimes, I try to slow things down. And I remember talking to Ryan at one point and how he kind of went over strategy and how things happen with him and how his mind kind of works through the problems on the racetrack. And again, I think that the drivers up front, they react so quickly to anything that happens. again, I feel like this is going to come down to the final complex of corners. When they work their way through the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 combo, that big sweeper, it's going to be interesting to see who's up front, who's in second, who's in third. And I really believe Norberg, Turney, and Garrison will be the guys in there as well. This may be the final karting event, at least major karting event for Alessandro Di Tullio. He mentioned that on his social media at one point. He's moved into the USF Pro 2000 category, had a good end of the season last year, was very impressive. I would expect him maybe to start focusing more on car racing and then working with his squad for coaching, you name it, with Inter MS. So I see him being P4. He's just a super quick driver. He's going to have to be in the right mindset to be able to be there with these guys here. And then look at me and you, the same thing. I feel the same way about Hayden Jones. I had a number of drivers, 6 to 10 to 15, like we said, that could have been in the middle of the fight. But Hayden's just, man, it's like a switch went off a couple of years ago, right? When he started really battling it out and going head to head with Ryan Norberg and coming out with race wins. Hayden's is a very talented driver in the middle of the fight for sure. I think this weekend, like you said, more of a limited schedule, but SuperNats is when a lot of these drivers step up, and I think Hayden will step up onto the podium here in 2024.
Yeah, Alessandro Di Tullio, that's an interesting story because they just moved over the OTK product. So I think if they've done the homework over the last month, that could be a possibility. Because again, him and Harley Keeble was on Sodi Kart last year, but finished 5th on the Sodi Kart. But him, those two moving over to OTK, if they did their homework, I see them definitely as top 10 contenders.
Agreed. And that was one of the things I was looking at. And, they've been on the track at Homestead. They've been banging out laps, 100%. So again, another drive. I looked at Kai Hunter. Is Kai going to be in the middle of the fight? And we'll go back through all the other names here really quickly after we look at Nate's stuff. But it's again, there are so many drivers that could be in the middle of the fight for sure.
Yeah, here's Nate's top 5.
This was interesting because I had Matthew Higgins. I was looking at Matthew as well, and he had a tremendous run over in Europe this year. He's got Joe Turney to win as well, David, as you do. Matthew Higgins to go British 1-2, but a different Brit. Norberg 3rd, Garrison 4th, and Paulie Massimino up into the top 5. So a lot of times Nate will come out with one to I think he wants to throw a curveball at us. He'll pick somebody that he may know from Route 66 or USPKS, or he likes to pull that kind of little end run on us. Matthew Higgins, although not an end run, is a driver who's been extremely good, was very strong at the World Championships this year as well at PF International. So Higgins coming over here. We'll see how he plays when he hits the ground running.
Double duty too. He's also doing KA Senior. So I did miss that on the KA Senior side of things. Because again, we don't get a lot of international guys. So I miss that on KA Senior, but
on the energy cart as well, which is,
Yeah, so doing double duty will help him get acclimated really quick to both. And KA being in the morning, he'll be ready to go for the afternoon in X30. So, a sneaky pick by him. But, he's going Brit 1-2.
One of the interesting things about it is I just did a quick scroll here, David. I don't see another energy driver in the category. So I don't know if he's a single entry for Energy Course Americas or not. I don't, as I scroll down.
Yeah, there are no other. Yeah, I haven't done one, but yeah.
We kind of know how that plays, right? It's really good to have multiple streams of data. We know that. Rawls Performance Group has done it. Speed Concepts has done it. We've seen these teams with a number of different drivers who they're able to come back over data, discuss what they want to make, changes they make. Matthew is going to be in a very interesting position, seeing as the fact, first and foremost, he's by himself. Second, he's never run the SuperNats before. 19 years of age. This is going to be an interesting storyline if he does come into the top 5.
Yeah, again, a great little wild card pick for him. None of us picked defending winner Donovan Bonilla.
It's tough. I had him against 6 to 10, right? 100% 6 to 10. There was a number of drivers that I kind of looked at the same way that I thought, he could be in it. I don't want to say I struggled not putting Chase Hand in the top 5 of either of them. He finished 9th last year, but man, it's just. Chase do all stock car racing. It's again, you come in here and you look at the list of guys, David. We're talking about world champions, multi-time SCUSA champions, and every how do you don't pick a guy who's top 2 or 3 or 4 in the SCUSA Pro Tour or USPKS or whatever. It's unless you're a champion, we're not even looking at the top 5.
Well, let's look at the international guys again. Bonilla from Mexico, Ellie Goldstein from Belgium. under the Race Lab tent. He could be a factor. Finished 20th last year. We know the TB kart was fast at last year's racetrack. A couple of guys under the Forward Direction Motorsports tent. I know Greg Welch mentioned it to me. You got Ruben Moya and Andy Rattel. Couple guys that have IAME victories in Europe and at the Warrior Finals as well too, or podium finishes there. So
interesting.
So again, international guys. The Higgins thing is a great catch. But I remember these two guys again. I just don't have a lot of information on them, so it's very tough to put them in the top 5. But watch for those guys as well
on the Pontano chassis.
On the Pontano chassis, exactly.
Yeah.
So we saw it was doing really well in single speed competition and at the challenge in both senior and masters. We'll see how it does in X30 competition.
How about Aiden Ingrata coming back as well? Aiden's going to be running with Rawlson Performance Group. He did a half a year in USF Juniors this year. He was a top junior driver for many, many years. Back to the roots, I guess, for now, pressing the reset button, and Aiden with Rawlson. And again, Rawlson, Mike always seems to do a fantastic job at the SuperNationals. I remember a couple of years ago, and I think they had 8 senior drivers, and that was one of the big things that he touted at the end. He put all 8 of his drivers in the main event, and they were all in the top 20 when it was all said and done. When you get a big field, you're trying to get everybody qualified in. They always seem to have a absolute full deck of cards, the royal flush kind of thing in terms of top drivers trying to go to the top 5.
And Ingrata was the provisional winner at the USBKS finale at Newcastle, but a penalty took the victory away, giving it to Norberg. So
there you go.
Ingrata's got a race with the team under his belt. He could take over the Hayden Jones position on the team. You never know, or he could take Ryan Norberg away as well too.
What do you think about Stephen Miller making his senior debut at the SuperNats?
Yeah, another SuperNationals winner, winning the junior KA junior category in 2022. It depends on which Stephen Miller shows up. Is it the kid that's going to be consistently fast, stay out of trouble, or is it going to be the guy that's kind of all over the place and not pushing himself forward, but just going backwards? So
exactly.
That's going to be an interesting one. Austin Old's another junior driver coming up into the senior category with MPG Academy. He was fast pace. Just again, got to stay out of trouble. A couple other junior drivers to look at: Jensen Burnett, the Canadian, along with fellow Canadian Lucas Deslong champs. And then we already talked about Nick Eggleston, and then Archer Eversman, another Pantano driver for FDM.
Yeah, second-year senior driver Jesus Vasquez Jr. has been impressive. And I'll throw it out to this guy here for Host Driver Development. You got to give it for Nicholas Terlecki, top 10 last year. When you walk away with the top 10 in this category at the SuperNationals, you got to have your name brought up in the broadcast, because we'll see what he's able to do. 19 years of age for Terlecki, and again, a driver who could potentially find his way into the top 10 once again. Yeah,
stood on the podium in 2021, and KA Senior was among that crazy battle there that ended up in a wild finish for I believe it was Lemke winning it that year. So he's definitely one to watch. We already said, I'm looking at other names. Blake Nash, he's done a lot of OK racing in Europe with the Tony Kart Factory team. Finished 19th in this category last year, so he's one to watch. Chase Jones, our picture that shows this one right here, that would be Chase Jones. He's actually moving from KA over to X30 this year, so we'll see what he's able to do with that.
Hey, all he's got to do is 25 laps in the main event. He doesn't have to do 200 this time by himself.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So, and Dalton Haynes, a driver who went and raced at the Rotax Grand Finals for the first time, was impressive. Had an issue in qualifying to where he timed it just wrong and didn't get the lap time he needed in. So he started last in all his heat races, passed a bunch of karts, was actually in the top 15 in points at the end of the heat races. Unfortunately, contact in the main event took him out of contention. So,
all right, last break, David. Let's wrap this one up, folks. When we get back, it's time to look at Pro Shifter. The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TB Kart. Kartplex, the home of RaceLab, is situated on the grounds of the Area 27 Motorsports Park. From full arrive and drive TB Kart rentals to leagues and competition karting, the facility provides a new home to developing the future stars of motorsports, all beginning at Kartplex with RaceLab. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TB Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. It all started in my parents' garage. That's the foundation for MPG Motorsports, which grew from a small home garage in Indiana into one of the top race teams and kart shops in the industry. A true passion for motorsports runs deep in the DNA of MPG, which has developed strong connections within karting. Now based at the Whiteland Raceway Park in central Indiana, MPG Motorsports offers a wide range of opportunities through its race team while providing a full-service kart shop as an official dealer for the Kart Republic brand. The MPG Motorsports race team is led by ownership partner and karting champion Chase Jones and provides full trackside service and driver development. Be part of the MPG program at the USPKS, Stars Championship Series, and Route 66 Sprint Series events with arrive and drive opportunities available at those programs, as well as at the Whiteland Club races this season. A new 3,500 square foot shop is now open at the Whiteland Raceway Park in Whiteland, Indiana, and is the new home of MPG Motorsports. This new headquarters will provide local and regional racers with a full-service race shop that provides a wide range of parts and supplies to racers, including the full chassis line of the Kart Republic brand. For more, head to mpg-motorsports.com and follow us on social media. Let MPG Motorsports take your motorsports career in the direction of your choice. All right, folks, $10,000 up for grabs in the Pro Shifter category of this year's SuperNationals, the 27th edition of this race. This is the final segment here of this particular OutLap preview podcast, lining things up for next week's SCUSA SuperNationals. Again, Pro Shifter brought to you by PSL Karting, a fantastic field of 67 drivers lined up. David, it's been interesting because we call it Pro Shifter, but you go back to the opening, the initial years, and I want to say the very first year. I know we have S1 down, but I think S1 may have been year 2. I want to say the first year was like 125 open and it was like 2 125 categories. But essentially S1, Formula S1, it got turned into Super Pro. We can go back into that later. That's another story. KZ and S1 Pro Shifter through a number of years, and now, of course, kind of settling in on the Pro Shifter category. I'll let you go through the last 6 winners, but bottom line is Danny Formal, obviously a huge victory for him last year, getting the win after not getting picked by any of us to go for the race win. And he was, of course, very vocal about that, which was awesome. Danny not going to be here this weekend. He'll be over, I believe, over in Europe, right? Running in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo World Finals, making his move to car racing, of course. But yeah, a lot of great storylines in Pro Shifter.
Yeah, he was able to put himself in the list of 4-time winners at the SuperNationals with that victory last year. Also winning in 2019 in this category. Pedro Hiltonbrand, the Spanish driver, winning in 2022. Matteo
Vijano,
the Italian, finishing first in 2021. Fellow Italian Leonardo Lorandi winning in 2018. And then Paolo Di Canto, winning in 2017 and 2016. So he went back-to-back those 2 years.
Yeah, and I expect the drivers in the SCUSA Pro Tour points to be in the middle of the fight. Mateus Morgado, of course, making his debut here this year and did it in style, winning the championship over Jacob Gulick. AJ Myers coming in the 3rd spot. Kyle Wick in 4th, and Talon Yockel had a really strong run to cap off the top 5. David, a lot of good notes for this one here because, like I said, you and I, before we did the show, when we were kind of in the office banging out our predictions, we were kind of going back and forth, messaging each other going, wow, how do you pick Pro Shifter? Right? It was just so tough. I know you got a lot of notes to roll through. When we get to the predictions, folks, it was tough.
Yeah, this is probably the toughest one. I think KA Senior, because again, it has 94 guys, but you look at the solid roster that is in Pro Shifter, it's amazing. Again, 38 drivers from outside the United States, so a very international based field. But again, a lot of top drivers here in the US that have been racing shifter karts all season long. So you have that. 17 different countries represented in the field. There are actually 7 former SuperNationals winners competing in this category. 5 of them have won the quote Pro Shifter KZ/S1, the headline shifter category at the SuperNationals. But we also have to look at 3 world champions in the field.
Yeah, that's the big thing about it, is there's the level of competition is crazy, and like we looked at in the
actually
the
it's 4 if you count single speed too. I forgot about Morgado.
That's true. That's true. 100% true. That's the crazy thing about this is the fact that the influx of some of these major drivers, there are big top running Americans. This is what happened to us last year too, David. You and I always have to kind of roll the dice on which Americans are going to step to the forefront, knowing for sure that the factory drivers are going to come in because they're paid professional drivers. It's always the battle back and forth of who we think is going to step up. Is it going to be a European driver who comes in and gets the job done? You know, we're always looking at the former or the current world champion. You're always looking at guys who have been to the SuperNats before, but then you got to lean to the guys who are the top drivers in North America running in the SCUSA Pro Tour as well. So
last year in X30 Pro, I had 11 points. I was the best in that category. In this category, I only had 3 points. So that tells you how difficult it is to pick this category. And ironically, my one pick that was correct was AJ Myers in 4th. So the USA driver. So it's a unique category. Obviously, last year we had I think there was a couple drivers who didn't show up. We had some drivers wrecking in qualifying that kind of screwed everything up. So this category was kind of like a crapshoot, like you get at the tables, or anything could happen. So it was wild and crazy.
All right, David, you won them all. You're leading off again. You're batting P1. Let's go. What do you got?
Yeah, this one's tough, but I'm going to go with a world champion. I'm going to go with a world champion, the 2022 world or 2023 world champion. That is Victor Gustafsson. That is my pick to win it here. We haven't seen him at the SuperNationals before. So this is his first time racing at the SuperNationals. I just think CRG winning the world championship in the OK category. Why not throw a CRG to win Pro Shifter here? It's been a while. It's been since 2017 when we saw Paulo Di Canto win back-to-back years, 2016 and 2017.
David, CRG's won a lot. You got to go back to Jonathan Tanan as well. Like they've won Lorenzo
33 SuperNational victories at
30
for CRG.
Wow.
So that I don't know. As a former world champion, I think him coming in, I know we haven't seen the world champions do very well at the SuperNationals, but I think him not winning the world championship again this year, a wreck in a couple of the races and getting kind of pushed back to obviously the weather issues in Portugal as well too. I think he's going to come in with some incentive to do really well here.
All right.
Second place, you got to go with the regular second place runner-up finisher for 3 times over the last 5 years, or 4 times over the last 5 years. Martin Kremers, the Dutch driver, now racing with Rolliston Performance Group. So he's essentially taking over the Formal position under the tent. So he'll be the lead shifter kart driver there with OTK. He finds his way to get on the podium. Obviously didn't do extremely well in European competition with his first year with OTK, but still in contention every weekend he goes to. And I think he's going to find a way to get on the podium once again. And he just loves second place. So that's where I'm going to put.
Oh my, I can't believe you put him second place just to beat him down. Like at least third. It means he doesn't get another second place finish.
What happens if he wins? Who is he going to look at? He's going to look at me. So it's kind of a little fun thing to do.
All right.
But I think he has the ability to win. He certainly does. He's proven it over and over again because he's going to find a way to be competitive this week. So,
all right.
My third place driver. Not too many people know of the KZ2 world champion in Christian Bertucca, the driver from Italy. He's actually raced at the SuperNationals 3 other times. Ran X30 Junior in 2019, X30 Senior in 2021, and then KZ or Pro Shifter here in 2022, finishing in the 8th spot. So I think the PSL Burrell Art driver is going to be among the drivers to beat. We've seen the PSL karting Burrell Art do very well with Mateus Morgado. I just think something's going to happen with Morgado that doesn't put him in my top 5. So, and then I have the reigning world champion coming in 4th. That's Giuseppe Palumba, finishing in 4th. The Sodi kart driver going to be in that position. Like I said it. World champions don't really do well at the SuperNationals, but I'm putting 2 of them in my top 5, and then I got to roll with the guy who gave me the points last year, AJ Myers. I think he's going to be the top North American driver in the field. We've seen him be at his best all season long. Again, just coming up a little short in the championship behind Morgado. Again, contact at the Summer Nationals was part of that issue, but Myers always shows up at the SuperNationals. He was top 5 in 3 of the last 5 editions. He's just really good. And then you go all the way back to his first time in KZ back in 2014, finishing in the 5th spot. So I'm going to go a 10-year kind of coming back to that 5th place position.
You mean back when Scusa wouldn't give him a license to run in the S1 class, so he had to run KZ on a PCR.
Yeah.
All right, folks. David just dropped his picks there. Give me your thoughts on what David's thinking about these picks. I will say this. David says, "Oh, Mario will be looking at me if he does well." Who's up next, me or Nate?
You are.
Put me up next.
There
So Marion's finished second a lot of times.
Yeah.
And, I think we all know how strong Rawlson Performance is. Obviously, Danny Formal showed what they were able to put together for a temp circuit race last year. The car obviously worked its way to the front. Huge victory for them. I'm not saying that gives any kind of momentum or whatever for Marion. He wants to come in and do it himself. But the bottom line is, I think he's going to come away with a victory. I feel like at the end of the weekend, I think it's going to be strong. It's going to be crazy racing. You'll see, I didn't put either of the last 2 world champions in there. I just feel sometimes coming to these racetracks, it's tough to get a handle on it. Coming over to Las Vegas for the first time, it's wild racing. It's fast. AJ Myers, for all the reasons that David says, he's had so much success over the years. I put Myers up into second. Matteo Vajano, last 3 years, 1 DNF, but 1st and 3rd, I think, right, David? If I'm not mistaken, his results over the last couple of years. 3rd last year, he won back in 2021, the Burrell Art driver. So again, I put him in there again. He's had great success, and it doesn't make any sense to me that he won't be back in the fight again. Kyle Wick finished 6th last year. He hasn't had the chance really to run. Like he's been top 5. He's been on the podium. But Kyle, I think, is really coming into his own in terms of the fact he realizes he's one of the top drivers. He was strong at the Rock Vegas event as well, which bodes well for temporary circuit. And last but not least, I went for Pedro Hiltbrand. I kind of leaned to some of the guys who have had success here over the past number of years. Guys that I knew would be fast. Obviously, Hiltbrand's had a lot of success here. He won back in 2022. And again, the Burrell Art drivers, I put 3 of them in the top. Burrell's had such a strong year. Morgado looked really good all year long in his program. So you put Vajano, you put Hiltbrand, you put those guys in the fight. You mentioned what's the Burrell Art driver that you picked up as well?
That would be Bertucca,
right? So there was another driver. So they're going to have 3 bullets in the gun for sure, along with Jay Irwin and a lot of the other drivers as well. So I have a feeling that they're going to be in the hunt. So I put Vajano and Hiltbrand taking the Red Army into the top 5 as well. But Kremers will take the victory. his first win, he will break out, and it will be a raucous Super Sunday evening, Monday morning.
Does he get like the Dale Earnhardt? Everybody gives him a high five.
You know what? Maybe he'll roll it down pit lane, and everybody will walk out and give him the high five. It'll be, listen, it was massive last year, as we know, when Danny Formal won, right? To get that fourth victory, to get in there with the legends of the SuperNationals. Marian's been so close. We know that, right? He's been so close to coming away with the win. It's been tough on him to be able to not get that victory. 3 times a runner-up? You already rolled in 4 times a runner-up.
4 times.
4 times finishing in second. Those other times were top 6. So I'm going to give it to Kremers this year. Maybe it's just the sentimental side of me saying I want to see him come away with the win, stand on top of the podium. But
hey, and there's nothing wrong with sentimental picks.
No,
I mean, I've done
it before.
Old. You are getting old. Yeah. And again, I'd love to see him win it. I think it would be good. I think, like I said, I think it would be a Dale Earnhardt-esque type celebration where literally everybody would be, very similar to what we saw with Formal. Formal has a lot of respect. I think Kremer has now earned the respect for a lot of North American people. There was first that hatred towards him because he came in as a world champion. Now I think they understand, he's a human being too, like everybody else. And
exactly that.
And so I think there'll be a lot of respect. I think it's going to be a tough task though, however, but I do like the fact that we have 3 different winners selected as Nate Dean's picked coming up here.
He's going world champion. He's going Sody Kart with Giuseppe Palumba. So that's a big pick for him. Again, you talked about the fact that the world champions have not had the best of success. They've never been to this race. At least Giuseppe has not been here before, but Sody Kart's a strong chassis. And listen, we've seen, here's the one thing that I kind of leaned into a little bit as well. We haven't seen him. I think it was a couple of years ago, right? But Senna Van Walstein, who came over for a while there a couple of years ago, was it last year or it was 2 years ago?
It was 2023. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was 2023. Came over and was pretty strong in that Sody Kart machine and was mixing it up. Had his elbows up. So that's a couple different guys under that tent that are going to be able to work together and find the speed they need for Sody. As we know, David, Sody Kart's had some success here in the past with Anthony Abbas. So good pick for Nate Dean to go P1 with Palumba.
Yeah, Sody Kart has won here in this category twice with both times with Anthony Abbas. So, Morgado finishing second. You look at his orders. So he got Palumbo, Morgado, Kremers, Gustafsson, and Hiltbrand, all international drivers. You got Sody Kart, Burrell Art, OTK, CRG, and then Burrell Art. So that is the lineup there. And again, like you said, international drivers, so no USA drivers. So I think that's kind of the way he sees things. And again, it kind of fuels a fire as I'll bring us both back in now. It kind of fuels the fire for the North American drivers. Nate Dean, what are you doing? Why you didn't pick me?
Yeah. So. Well, listen, one of us is going to get some points.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing about this. Like there are so many drivers, like you said his name already, with Senna Van Walstein. None of us picked him, and he's a very accomplished shifter car driver in Europe. But there's a lot of international guys that could be in the mix. One of them, the name right below him, Daniel Vasili, racing with Italkart. He came over and ran the Challenge of the Americas, did very well there. Came over last weekend, won the Rock Vegas event, and can come over here and do the same for the SuperNationals after finishing 7th last year. Yeah,
indeed. Like I said, a driver who 7th last year, again, just on the outside looking in for me, right? There's a number of drivers that kind of played for me in that way, man. They could be good, but maybe not. A driver who finished very strongly in with Niles Troger. Let's talk about Niles Troger on a factory car, David. That's a really good story.
So that's an interesting story. So last year was the KZ2 world champion. Yeah. He's been doing a lot of car racing, but came over and tried to do SuperNationals, but got disqualified from the event in practice for trying to add weight to the cart. It's a crazy story. So he literally didn't race the whole entire event, because I remember Sunday night at the after parties and stuff like that, seeing him there, and I'm like, well, why isn't he on the results? And I had to ask a couple of people, and like, oh, that's what happened. So he could be a driver that comes in and spoil things for the international roster that's coming over. But yeah, he's actually going to be, it looks like he's going to be on a factory cart, which he's been Maranello a long time, raced there with those guys a lot. So we'll have to kind of get that story when we get to the paddock on Tuesday for that.
All right, so I'm just going to go from the top just so we don't miss anything. I always talk about Davide Fore. He's been doing double duty the last couple of years. In 2021, he finished in 7th position. We didn't mention Jacob Gulick either. He has not had good luck at all, DNF in the last 3 years, but he is one of the top shifter car drivers in the U.S. right now. Marcus Kajak as well, 2nd back in 2022, 13th last year. David, none of us picked Kajak as well. There's a lot of really good drivers running in that Maranello USA National Karting Group program. That can be impressive. They're going to have a lot of data with some really, really fast drivers.
Yeah, we talked about Boss Lammers in Master Shifter. He's going to be doing the double duty racing Pro Shifter as well. Another SuperNationals former winner, Jordan Lennox, coming back. We have not seen him since 2015 when he ran KZ, winning the S1 division and the SCUSA Pro Tour Championship. Yeah. I think he's the only driver to win all 6 rounds in the Pro Tour at the top level of shifter kart.
Yeah,
I don't think in the Pro Tour history anybody's been able to do that.
And the team owner, of course, right over in Europe. Yeah. He'll be over here running with PSL karting on a Burrell Art machine. He was a CRG driver back then. Ran the old school CRG graphics. I remember that year.
Oh, yeah.
Morgado, we talked about him a little bit. Actually, didn't talk a lot about Mateus Morgado. He's going to be a driver, I think, still going to be in the fight. Billy Musgrave's going to do double duty. 9th last year, a 4-time winner in the program. We mentioned Myers, Palumba, Hunter Pickett, another driver who has had a couple of top 10s here over the last couple of years. Who else you got, David, rolling down the order?
Yeah, one of the rookies that's going to be coming in, Edward Port's going to be racing under the Rollison Performance Group tent. He's been X30 racer for a number of years. He's going to make the jump into the shifter kart ranks. So be interested to hear kind of the testing regimen if he's had any in the 6-speed side of things.
Interesting part of the series here, David, in this pro shifter category, and it's kind of the separation of the pro X30 to the pro shifters. In pro X30, you're seeing drivers 14 to 18, 14 to 20. There's a number of drivers, like a Ryan Norberg, some of these veterans who are a little over the 20 years of age. You scroll up and down the order here, and a lot of the fast drivers are 25 to 30 something, right? Like you look at some of these guys that we're talking about. Potentially going for race wins here are 20 and up. Rainbow Rossetti's 30 years of age. He finished 5th last year. There's a lot of guys between 20 and 30. And I know the guys that are at the top level, they're not going masters racing as soon as they get to 30, right? We took a couple of years before Billy Musgrave did a lot of guys push off. But this is like the adult class, right? This is actual adults racing go-karts at the top level.
Well, like you said, a lot of these guys are the factory guys. They're doing the KZ racing on those weekends and then coaching or doing whatever else for the other events and testing and doing whatever in that. But I mean, you could be Davide Fore at 50 years of age racing against, the pro shifter guys. It's again, something about guys, the legends in karting, their talent doesn't go away. Like it stays with them.
And here's what I want to throw out here. This is interesting because when we get a chance to see these drivers here, these factory drivers that come over, the chassis that you're going to run in the next couple of years, when there's another homologation and they've made changes to the chassis and there's a new design, it comes from these drivers. When they're out at South Garter, when they're out at these tracks, banging out laps, testing new prototypes, that's where it comes from. And so we're getting a chance essentially to have these guys come over that are really, to a certain extent, partially responsible for the next generation of cars, the next homologation, the next chassis design, whatever it may be. So I think that's why I feel it's such a big level, because these are the drivers that are really putting the input in to be able to find what we're going to have product-wise in the coming years.
Yeah, and I believe 2025 is going to be a new year of homologation. So we're probably going to see a lot of new equipment. I know one thing we will see is new bodywork. We got the OTK bodywork that's already coming over to the US, so we're going to see that. We've seen Burrell Art going to have new bodywork. I'm sure a lot of the other manufacturers are going to have their new and updated bodywork, but I'm assuming a lot of these pro shifter and X30 pro guys are going to have some of the new homologated chassis as well too. So that's going to be interesting to see and kind of follow.
Well, let's shut this one down, folks. We have wrapped it up. We've gone through all of the categories, the 2 masters classes. We've gone through KA 100 senior, X30 senior, and the pro shifter class. 9 categories in total over the last 2 days. Our 2 OutLap preview podcasts to dial things in as we head to the airport on Monday. We'll be trackside first thing Tuesday morning. We talked about the track walk on Tuesday afternoon. wheel to wheel, starting with practice, of course, on Wednesday, practice and qualifying on Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we go wheel to wheel all the way to Super Sunday. David Cole, this is it. We are getting rolling. It feels like it's kind of the start, but I know you've been going for about a week already or more.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Supernats yet. I think once we get through the weekend and I start packing, then it's going to be like, oh my gosh, it's here. But it's just crazy to be already getting done with our preview podcast. We got 4 more articles to come. 4 more. We got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So make sure you get on the website and check those out. Again, full entry lists are going to be on there. We have the exclusive. Thank you to Superkarts USA for continuing our partnership with that. It's strange. 20 years. It doesn't feel like it's been 20 years that I've been going to the 20th time, or what did we say? My 19th time, or
19th time.
19th years. Time. It's been 20 since my first time. It's crazy. Yeah,
no doubt about that. 27 for me. So that's nuts. Unbelievable.
So maybe I do have to race next year, right?
Wow. Well, you have to bring somebody in to get some. We have to hire somebody to come in who is like a big shooter from somewhere to come in and cover it. There's nobody that can do what you do. The bottom line is you just bust your tail. That I don't think anybody can do what you do. So that's my call.
I mean, yeah. I'm kind of like the Davide.
You have to have 2 people.
I'm the Davide Foray of karting journalism. I mean, maybe. I could get everybody to put the DAVID again, but that was for David Serra. I'm not the karting Jesus. I'm not the karting Jesus. No.
You're the karting Russ Thompson.
There we go.
Russ Thompson's the karting Russ Thompson.
There you go.
This guy knows so much about the history of the sport.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, let's wrap this one up because it is the end of the day. It's Wednesday, hump day here. Of course, SuperNationals is closing up pretty quick, as we said. Everybody, I saw a bunch of social media where the trailers are all kind of locked and loaded. A lot of guys rolling out first thing tomorrow morning to get there because we talk about being on track on Wednesday, but the bottom line is people start rolling in on Friday, on Saturday. If you're depending on where your trailer is, you got to be there early to get yourself locked in. This is a big deal. Let's give a shout out to everybody at Superkarts USA. They started the couple days after the Supernats for this one here. This is one of those races that just takes the entire year. Many trips to Vegas, reconnaissance trips to get things dialed in. So much goes into putting on an event like this at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, from layout, track layout, pit layout, all the stuff that gets brought in terms of fencing and barriers. There's just so much work that does get done. David, let's wrap things up. Again, lots of stuff we're going to be doing, of course, throughout the week. Facebook, X, Instagram. I'm sure Nate's going to be working some stuff on TikTok as well if you're on that platform. Should we throw the hashtags out here? They're pretty much what we always have, right?
Yeah. Hashtag EKN SCUSA, hashtag SCUSA SuperNationals, hashtag SuperNats27, hashtag Vegas, hashtag LVMS for Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and of course, hashtag karting. Get your shirt at EKN store.
Hashtag book it. All right, folks, we're going to cap off this one here. We are done for this edition of the OutLap. Thank you so much for everybody who came in and threw out their picks. Well, great to have some commentary there. I love the interaction with the people that are watching the show. For those of you who maybe just came in and want to watch it at the start, it'll, of course, be available on YouTube, as is the show from yesterday as well. Both of our shows here will then, of course, be turned into the podcast format. David will get those up on the EKN Radio Network as well. We'll have more to come. Lots of coverage coming, as we know. Previews all the way through to Sunday. And then, of course, we'll be trackside on Tuesday to get down and dirty. Thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. On behalf of David Cole, Nate Dean, who's not with us here, but handle all the graphics. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.